Yeah, welcome. We got a back. What's that background noise?
Nope,
You
I don't hear anything.
Oh,
Hello, everyone.
now it stopped. That's
It
weird.
stopped. Yep.
What's up, everyone? Hello, 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 my good friends. Welcome to Wild Card Wednesday night on CLOBBERIN Times. This is ISU number 240, 940 overall, and 240 just for YouTube. And welcome to a Wild Card Wednesday review special, reviewing all of the entire run of Jack Kirby's The Eternals. And as Eternals week officially kicks off in the only way it should, by talking real deal Eternals, since the rest of the week we'll be talking about some kind of thing called Eternals, object called Eternals, whatever you want to call it. Well, hello, hello. Let's see here. Quick show notes. We went first. A big hello to the greatest engineer in the fleet, Mark D with the C. Thanks for joining me,
Thank
dude.
you. Welcome. Yep. Welcome, everyone. Glad to be here.
But we'll do. Let me do hellos and then do some show notes.
Yep.
The great J Man, he said he's gonna be out of here by the time we see this. I said something about hi guys, I'll be seeing this tomorrow. Decided to not read the comics. The comic, well, I read the first three issues, so that I will be the only one on the panel who hasn't read it. It will give me a unique perspective. You know, J Man, I'm not so sure it will, because I can already tell you, and I have not seen the movie yet. Even if there's something nice to say about it, which I'm skeptical of, we'll see. Yes, okay, I'm skeptical. You can't help but be biased with all the talk about something going on. It will. I can already tell you the movie will. The comic. The movie will have no bearing on the comic and vice versa, because they're not going to be related. Only a few names. The story, none of it. I'm now convinced after rereading. Well, I'm even going to say rereading. It's been 40 something years reading the comic, because it's been it's ridiculous when it's been that long and you have my kind of memory. You just may as well say I've read the comic. I'm not going to say reread, because I can't even remember what year it was when I read the series and had to go back and find them in quarter boxes to do it. So I remembered nothing other than loving the art and barely any of that. It had far more impact on me now, not just because it's more recent, obviously, but anyway, we'll talk about that as far as the comic. But the movie, I just I basically wanted to show the comic some love, because I doubt there's going to be much room in my heart for the movie. Boy, but you know
Well, I
what?
can't
I would love to
imagine.
be
We'll
proven
get
wrong.
into it, but I can't imagine adapting this series into the movie. But we'll see
Well,
what elements they take.
yeah, I'm going to
It
go
might not.
see.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. I'm going out of the curiosity to see if there's any semblance of Kirby there. But let's say some hellos real quick. The great hungry boy. What's up, buddy? Again, creator and artist of the great Clubboni. Damn, we love it. Big shout out to you, bud. Um, D. Bud Martin, brother, always pleasure to see you, the man of iron, and the great Phantom Outsider. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. See who else? Steve Mitchum, the great Steve Mitchum. Good to see you, bro. Stuart Mitchell. What's up, man? Good to see you. Dolly had braces. I think it's very important that we always point out,
Yes.
never forget, Dolly had braces. So yeah. I guess that's everybody. Hang on.
And Raquel. You said Raquel, right?
I haven't gotten that far down yet. Hang on. Oh,
Oh, sorry. I
the,
ruined it. Oh, I
the,
ruined it.
the greatest
Ruined the
first
surprise.
officer in the fleet. Love you, Raquel.
Yeah, Raquel.
The next time we talk to her tomorrow, we could be broken men.
Yeah, but I'll get my popcorn at least.
That's because it better be some good popcorn we're going to be getting tomorrow night. Let's see here. Stupid chat. Kal-El, my friend, good to see you. Canadian Spidey.
Yeah.
Canadian Spider-Man. Canadian Spider. It does whatever a Canadian spider can. All right, let's see. Well, this thing is. Thank you so much, number one. Love you. Good to see you. Sherry, hello. The lovely Sherry is here. It is always a pleasure and an honor to have you here, dear lady. This thing is. See, I stopped my chat so I could do the hellos.
Oh,
And
so
then
it goes. Yep.
it just gets. Man.
Messed up. Yep.
The great Eric K. What's up, brother? The Bronze Surfer has arrived. Almost to the end of now. I'm up to speed. Hope I didn't miss anyone. So great to see you all here. with us this evening. Show notes. Tomorrow gathers the Global Geek Gang. And we'll talk about, we'll just do a basic Global Geek Gang, but I will tell you this about the Global Geek Gang, a show note starting next week and for the next 3 weeks. It's going to be Doctor Who month on the Global Geek Gang. We're going to do various Doctor Who subject matter. Orville Nation. Hey, PJ, I'm honored to have you here, my friend. It's always great to see you. It's truly, every time I see just the word Orville, man, I am just so excited. I can't wait for that season. I know it's too long. It's too long to wait. I just cannot wait to see that. And it's always an honor to see you here, PJ. Yeah. See, I lost it. I get distract myself and I lose what I'm saying. I hate being old. What was I saying? So you don't remember either, do you?
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, I'm catching up to you too. Yeah.
There's no reason you should listen to me. I don't listen to me. So anyway, I really did. I forgot what the hell I was talking about. So I guess it wasn't important. Well, it never is. If I'm talking about it, it's not important. Matthew Pounder, hey. Oh yes, Global Geek. It's gonna be Doctor Who, and it's gonna be look, I can't for the first time. That new Doctor Who flux shite. I didn't even bother.
Did you watch it? I didn't watch it.
After the filth that is the Timeless Children, even I, who put myself through the whole garbage Moffat run, the secondary Moffat run, and the Chibi run and the Chibi Whittaker run, I forced myself to watch that garbage. I will never. After Timeless Children, I even broke my rule and went back, and I did watch that stupid special after that. But I can't do it anymore. I've had it.
So you've actually have watched a lot of Jodie Who? I
watched the whole Chibi Jodie run, except for this new thing right here.
And I thought I was the only one that subjected myself to that kind of pain.
No, you weren't. And but let Gary and Az handle it. They do it well. Love those guys. Gary and Az, that's why we pay them the big bucks out here. So let them suffer it. My buddy Noel and Proby and all those guys can suffer it. I don't have access to it anymore. I got rid of my DirecTV, so I don't have a BBC America, which at least it would be convenient to watch. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch that trash. Screw them. They've ruined Doctor Who, but I still love Doctor Who almost on a level that I love Star Trek and other wonderful shows. I've been a Doctor Who fan for almost 40 years. And so we're going to celebrate Doctor Who, though, because rather than dwell in that horrible trash and what they've done to it, we're going to talk about positive Who in the sense that we're going to do a couple of shows where in one round table where we talk about the Doctor Who episodes that we love the most. And, in other words, we're just going to talk about the Doctor Who we love and remember. Yep. And so that'll be on the Global Geek Gang. And then tomorrow, folks, oh boy, a Clobbering Times Friday night special at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You, of course, Mark D, my
looking forward to it.
Great engineer. We will welcome some other great blokes. The good old J-Man, a good buddy with a great J-Man. If you're hearing this, brother, I can't wait to see you. And his buddy Sean, I think, will join us. I think Nicholas may join us as well. We'll find out. Nicholas should be here in a little bit. Nick Weiser. And Loki might join us as well. He expressed when he heard that I was going to put myself through this, he said, well, if he could find a way to watch it, he would join us. But Eli Gabelis, what's up, buddy? And I told him he was welcome. I mean, the more the merrier if you want to call, so yeah. But like I say, if Loki might show up, he might not. It doesn't matter. I'm not holding him to it. So tomorrow night we will have seen this. But that's Friday. Oh, I forgot about CLOBBERIN's Clubhouse. Can't forget that.
Don't forget that, yeah.
The wonderful Raquel and our good buddy Mark D with the C here. We do a show every Thursday night. Now, we just started a couple of weeks ago. We have just a terrific time just hanging out with two of my greatest friends in the world, Raquel and Mark, just kind of hanging out, geeking out.
Thank you. A lot of fun.
And nerding out, too, because Raquel would be nerding, not geeking, according to her.
Yep.
And so she would be nerding. We would geek. We'll geek. It'll be a nerd geek clash. And United Federation of Nerdy Geeks.
Gonna make that a bumper sticker.
We were on for almost 4 hours last week. And we talked about her Gold Key Star Trek comics, amongst many other things. And this week, amongst many other things, we will talk about her DC Star Trek comics, because she's been getting some comics for the first time. She's been getting a couple of comics, and they're Star Trek comics. And so we'll have that plus many other things. I'm sure we'll talk about something else for a little bit. But anyway, Friday, there will be the big review of Eternals. And, of course, everyone, Saturday night, as always, Saturday Night Star Trek. 4 more episodes, getting close to the end of Season 3 of Star Trek The Next Generation. Sorry. So, looking forward to that. Let's see here.
Elagabulus. That was a great show, yep.
Elagabulus, it's good to see you, though. He says, been skipping the TNG reviews because I only like Season 7. Only 7, huh?
Well, 3. Come on. 3's got that great cliffhanger. So
great to see you. All the same. Yeah, well, it's great to see you. That's dude. Skip whatever you like, man. We know you. We know you love us, brother. But pop in and say hi sometimes. I'm glad to see you here. But 7 though, I actually think 3 and 4. I don't know. I thought 7 was a fairly uneven season. There's some good ones, but.
Well, even if the episodes are bad, we have a great time in the chat. So
yes,
sometimes even when the episodes are worse, I think sometimes we have more fun picking apart the episode and joking about it. So
we do have to be honest. 7 doesn't have Wesley, so of course it's just better for that. It's better for that. So anyway, 4 more episodes of that. Now, I was hoping Nick would have been here by now, but he will be here eventually. We're going to start talking about this. When he gets in, we'll backtrack. All right, everyone. The Eternals, of course, is a movie that was finished for an MCU installment. And it was made and finished a couple of years ago. It was supposed to be released about 2 years ago. And everyone, we talked about it a little bit before. The story basically is Marvel see, Marvel do. 7 does have Wesley? Did he come back? Oh, okay. Well, now it's worse. Thanks, Orville. Thanks, PJ. I thought Wesley left.
Does he come back for?
He's in there, but then he leaves.
It's like a flash. Or
no, he's in a couple of episodes. Then he leaves again with the Traveler at the very end. So yes, he's in there. That is true.
Wesley hasn't been as bad this season. I mean,
I don't know, man.
I mean, he's bad, but it's
one episode. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, PJ. Yeah, PJ, you had me worried again. I'm like, oh God, I got to see Wesley like a bunch.
Yeah. They don't have as many ridiculous stories with him this season, but he's still annoying. I agree. I was waiting for.
Well, there's Nick. Look at the Nicholas man. What's up, bud?
Well, hello, sir.
Nick Weiser, hell.
The great 32 flavors of Nick Weiser.
Cheers! Cheers!
Yeah, nice shirt, buddy.
Thank you.
So basically, we just did all our hellos and all our preliminary stuff. So, one or two, I think I know what you're talking about, PJ. I think I remember at least a couple, but he wasn't like a regular or anything. He was actually, I don't know if it was 6 or 7, but he was in real sound effects here, folks. Only here.
Pouring the beer.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going whiskey tonight. And I see Raquel in the chat. What's up, Raquel? Long time no see.
Hey.
Steve Mitchum, hungry boy. I'm ready to chat this book, dude. I've been... Yeah, right when you are, Chris. I'm just excited.
We're ready, dude. And but I'm doing the setup right now, brother. But everyone, of course, the great Nick Weiser. Now, Eternals, for those who do not know, again, as I said, the reason why it's worthy to mention this is because a few years back, and again, I have a saying, and I've always used Marvel see, Marvel do. But it actually can be called DC see, DC do for the entirety of the history of both Marvel Comics and DC Comics. Even when DC was mostly national periodical publications, and when Marvel was Timely, then Atlas, then Marvel, in any of their incarnations, they've copied each other on a regular basis. One would come out with something, the other one would jump on the bandwagon. So the same is true of their movie studio branches, which, look, these characters, all the characters, whether it's the one that Nick is wearing on his shirt or the one that you see Mark as now, whatever, they're not really comic book characters anymore. They always will be to me, of course. They're movie characters now. WDIX 690 AM, Dixville, USA. That's an interesting name there, and welcome. I'll call you WD for short, and it's a pleasure. I've not seen you in here before. Welcome. So, DC announced... Dude, what is all that noise? Man, somebody's typing a lot and I'm hearing noise.
That may be me. I apologize. That would be my fault. I'll mute the mic. Go ahead. Keep carrying on. I'm just responding to people in the chat. Sorry.
No problem, buddy.
Or maybe turn down your gain, Nick. Maybe your gain is maybe your gain's set to 11.
Oh yeah. Starfleet, boost your banner game. Oh, we're losing signal. Oh no, they're forming. The transporter malfunction has turned Nick into Spidey. Look at him. So where were okay? DC had announced the New Gods, which of course was Jack Kirby's fourth world. They'd at that point, they were still doing, Marvel, especially not DC so much. Of course, DC was not prospering at the cinema, but Marvel was with their MCU. So they decided to announce New Gods, and they named the director. I'm not going to go into anything about her. Just suffice to say, she was the woman that they'd announced to direct the movie. Knew nothing. She was clueless. She knew nothing about Kirby's New Gods or anything like that, which made her, of course, perfect for the job because it was 2016, 17, whatever it was. So a couple weeks later, Marvel, Kevin Feige announced. Well, and again, I say this all the time, but I can hear the conversation right now at Marvel, the idiots execs at Marvel. Hey, what's that thing? What's that thing DC just announced?
Oh, 2018.
Jack Kirby's New Gods. Hey, we got anything like that? Well, you got a lot of things, Jack. Yeah, you got a lot of things Jack Kirby created, but we got anything like that though? Yeah, we know we're already screwing Kirby's legacy with all of these movies, and they said one of them went to the comic shop. I'm betting you.
Oh yeah.
Talk to the comic geek.
It.
So what's this God News things or whatever that DC just announced this movie about Sixth World or whatever by Jack Kirby or whatever. And the comic geek at the comic shop probably had to talk to someone of the older comic book geeks and said, "Whoa, what do you mean? Well, you guys are Marvel. You can't do the New Gods anyway." Oh, that's right. Yeah, but do we have anything like that guy? Yes. Well, I tell you what. When Kirby left DC in the '70s, he was given some editorial control, and he was allowed to create a few books and do a lot of covers and stuff for Marvel when they lured him back after about 4 or 5 years at DC. So he created he really put a lot of work into the New Gods and the Fourth World titles. So they let him do a title, and it's not really exactly like New Gods or anything like that, but it was something along the same vein. It was a bit similar in some ways. He did a comic book called The Eternals, and they probably showed him a couple of back issue Eternals from the dollar box. Because it's like, look, I love them, but I mean, they were not really worth much of anything.
Mm-hmm.
So
no one really
at that point.
Dude, I mean, you're right though. Like Clobber, I want to add to that because I'd never even heard of the Eternals. Like I wasn't even aware of the name. Maybe I may have read it in passing a comic book and I didn't really think anything of it. But when that movie was announced as a response to Warner Brothers' New Gods That Never Was, I'm like, who the frick are the Eternals? And that's saying something because I at one point in time wasn't familiar with the question, but I at least knew who he was. I knew the basics of him, but I never even heard of the Eternals.
Well, I'm just guaranteeing you this will happen. Kevin Feige doesn't know anything about old comics, and I guarantee you he didn't know who the Eternals were.
Oh God, no!
The only reason, well, when they mentioned it, he goes, "Well, but isn't that kind of obscure?" And most people say, "Yes, they're obscure." Well, what about Guardians of the Galaxy? It worked with that. Yeah, it did work with that, but they were a little bit less obscure. They at least had a current comic book. There were a couple of comic attempts. I mean, they've had like other volumes of Eternals closer to that time period, but they are more obscure than Guardians. Plus, Guardians had a bit of a following.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, so they greenlight this thing and they hire. Just like DC did, they hired this woman that knows nothing about comics she makes art films and this Chloe Zhao or whatever to do this this Jack Kirby product. So in property that he created, and then when everyone's scratching their head going, Eternals, really? Even those of us who knew and and like it, whether you like it or not, even I who now I've rekindled my love for it by reading it again just recently, But going, I still don't know what you're making a movie for. I don't get it. I mean, and that's coming from just being objective, even though I love it. And if someone came along with a big vision for it that was a great filmmaker and said, we're going to make it look just like pure Kirby, I'd even say, well, I don't know if you're going to make it popular, but if you make it look like pure Kirby, it could draw people in because, it'll look amazing. So that's not what they did. They got some art film maker, Chloe Zhao or whatever. They gave it to her. They've had this thing finished for a couple of years. And that's right, Phantom Outsider. You see, they screwed up. They screwed up with their stupid TV version of Inhumans.
Dude, that pissed me off. I actually am a Inhumans fan. I actually like the Inhumans, not the show, of course, but I like the characters. I love those characters. And it pisses me off like all the Inhumans. So I'm like, dude, you are either hating them for the wrong reasons. A, you're hating them for that TV show, or B, because Marvel tried to make them like the X-Men in the 20 times. I'm like, that's not the Inhumans. That's not the Inhumans.
One of the worst written shows ever. I mean,
like between the show and in the 2010s, that was not the Inhumans.
Cast, yeah.
Well, they were trying to do the whole, how everyone's like every other person's a mutant in the Marvel world. They try to make every other person an Inhuman. That's just like, what are you doing? That's not the Inhumans. They're supposed to be like super out there, whereas they're not really seen or spoken about, but.
Yeah, what they did with Medusa, the first thing they couldn't afford the special effects. So
they cut Medusa's hair.
Oh God!
They cut her hair. Her superpower.
Medusa's hair. What the fuck? Yeah. That's a ginger side. It's more ginger side.
Oh, that was the stupidest thing I've ever.
Karnak. You remember that first scene with Karnak and surfing and how horrible that was? I was like. Thank God I didn't go to the IMAX because they were actually showed that it was a fandom event, so you can go to the IMAX to watch it. It was like, thank God I didn't.
That had to be horrifying. Karnak, Maximus, my favorite dog, Lockjaw. I love Lockjaw. My children love Lockjaw.
Lockjaw was cute.
Oh my God!
Look. Medusa. This is like making. This is the equivalent of making Black Bolt a radio talk show host. Cutting Medusa's hair, which is her superpower.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like making Black Bolt a chatterbox.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I mean, you could have, or if they would have had her hair grow back instantly or something. Like have her,
No,
it was the whole series. Like
they just couldn't say, all right, let's just cancel it. No, they just had to make it anyway because they wanted it done, because they wanted to have the response to X-Men because they're playing petty bitches. Sorry, but I have to. It pisses me off because they were trying to make them like the X-Men, where they thinking, okay, listen, we made these characters popular. Let's just do this to these characters, and it's gonna work. And thankfully, it didn't. And it's just sad that the Inhumans had to be the one that were dragged into it, because I love the concept of them. I love the idea. I think there's great characters there. Yeah, and they just, they are classic. And they're going to always now live in the wrong light because of, Marvel Studios. And that's saying something, because I do like my share of the MCU, but that pisses me off a lot. It still does. I'm still bitter. I'm not getting over this, and I'm not going to get over it anytime
it's garbage.
soon.
But and the thing is, we're going to get to the comic in a second, because the movie will be tomorrow night and the next night. And, so what we wanted to do was, even though they're not going to have very much in common, the movie or the comic book, we already know this. And I don't mean just this comic, but especially Kirby's, because this is the only one that matters, even though it got cut short. We just wanted to show some love to where this all came from, because we're here, this film. Well, all right, we haven't seen the film yet. We're going to do the film.
Yeah,
once we've seen it.
Yeah, once we've seen it, then we can.
The comic
then
book,
we'll know. Yeah.
By the way, is and if you have not read the comic, yes, we're going to do spoilers. This is a 40-plus-year-old comic, almost a 45-year-old comic. There are only 19 issues, and then there's an annual. We're going to talk about the basic. We're going to go. We're definitely going to mention some specifics. It's not so much, I guess, it's spoilery, but. How can you spoil something that has no ending? And in this comic book, really has no ending.
Yeah, that's a tricky one to say. How does one spoil that?
Yeah. I mean, you can talk about things that happened, and we're going to, but you can't really. I mean, anyway, we'll look at some pictures, because here's the thing. This is 2021. The one upside to that being, when you do need extraordinary technology to create just an amazing look to a film, we live in that time where you can make this look pure Kirby in the backgrounds and the characters and
crackle.
The things the crackle. You could actually, hey, CGI could be useful for Kirby crackle.
Right? We are in the prime age to do that. And what do we do? No, we wanted to do the Snyder butt and make it all like that. No. I used one of your terms, Clobby. You should be proud.
Thank you. Snyder butt it is. And you're right. And also Kirby Machines. Zax, the Hulk villain. What's up, dude?
Zax!
So, the Eternal starts out, the comic book, I mean, where we automatically, I don't know. I find it hard to believe, either one of you, that they're going to do any of the things they did in the comic. I think you've in this movie, none of this story is going to be in there. None of it.
I doubt. I don't think any of this will be in this. I mean, I can show a couple of pictures from the.
Yeah, if you want to pull up some pictures.
Yeah.
But it basically starts out now in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy films. They did show a celestial, the space gods.
Yes, they did.
Yep. For those who don't know, the basic premise of Eternals is this. I mean, the comic book now. There are three dominant races on Earth created by the space gods. They came in when the early primates. They created three separate species of humans. You have humans, us. You have Eternals, and you have deviants. Eternals are beings, of course, that are they're immortals. They're Eternals, and they have the ability to manipulate matter, to quote unquote levitate, that they like to call it, fly, and they cannot die for the most part, even though they contradict that sometimes in some ways.
Yes, they do at times. Yep.
But they have extraordinary powers, and their names are very much like the Greek legends for a reason. Now, the deviants are people are the mistakes, the genetic mistakes, or the genetic deviants is what they are. And again, they look like the monsters of mythology, the demons. All of our myths are based on these three things, except we think they're myths. Olympia is where the Eternals live. They've Zuras, not Zeus. Icarus, he's a polar Eternal. You have Athena, daughter of Zeus. In other words, and most of our myths are based on the Eternals. And the deviant, most of our myths about monsters and scary things are based on the deviants.
Yep.
And we don't believe in them. Well, we don't really know about them. The beginning of this one, this is the late 70s, is when we first, a professor and his daughter, Professor Damien and his daughter, meet along with Icarus. They go and uncover the chamber of the Incas, and they discover the space gods. Or
you want to show that? I have it ready to show.
Yes, you got it.
Show that. Yep.
Or the Celestials, which again we got a glimpse of a Celestial that looked pretty good in
That did look good
in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I like this cover. I'm serious. I like this cover. I like how I love how the galaxy looks from their perspective. I really like I'm gonna be one of those guys unapologetically. I don't like pink, but somehow he just made pink look badass. So when you can make pink look badass, well, you got me. I'm just saying, you got me.
And again, Phantom Outsider, this is one of the things we're going to touch on later. You talk about how some of them went to Earth and got involved with Thanos and all that stuff. Well, and that's one of the things that's kind of curious. And I don't know if you've gotten to this part yet, Mark, but when you read the early issues of Eternals, it's tough to determine whether this is taking place in the actual 616 Marvel universe or not. I think later it was integrated into it. I'm not so sure Kirby wanted to make it that case. Now, I don't know if you can see this credit box down here, folks, but a key point is this.
See if I can zoom in. I don't know if it lets me zoom in.
Conceived, written, and drawn by Jack Kirby. And the second issue or so has a different credit box, edited as well. In other words, Kirby had a deal with Marvel with Stan. I think was pretty much on Stan. I think Stan was pretty much. By the way, it makes me sick that it says Stan Lee presents the Eternals up there. That's crap. Yeah. Stan Lee didn't present jack shit. Okay, Stan was sitting on a beach in California at this point. Okay?
That's true, though.
He was not at Marvel Comics. All right. Anyway, he was just their figurehead. We know that. But okay, not a Stan bashing thing here tonight. I understand that. But all right. So Jack was actually the editor of his own comic. That didn't happen much, folks. That's the kind of power Kirby had, and they let him do his own thing. Archie Goodwin was his supervising editor or whatever was his, his basic, supervisor. But it was really Kirby editing his own comic, which never happened. He got to call the shots. And if you read a lot of the early issues, especially when you get to that one with the Cosmic Hulk, they kept calling him, Mark. I mean, I don't know if you got them yet, or Nick. I know you've seen it.
Yeah.
And there's even a scene earlier, one of the early issues where Cersei, I think it was Grow or whatever, Crow. I mean, turns a guy's head to look like the Thing, and they mentioned the Thing.
Oh, that was Cersei.
Yes, I
That was
remember
Cersei,
that.
yeah.
Cersei, okay.
Cersei
All right.
did that, yeah.
But there are times when they talk like this, like the one with the Hulk. They talk like he's a Marvel Comics character. But then S.H.I.E.L.D. is in this thing. So it's really, but you see all the grandiose things happening in New York, and no other superheroes.
Yeah, there's no FF, there's no Spidey, there's no one else.
No one's showing up. Daredevil's not hanging out in Hell's Kitchen. You'll have Spider-Man and Queen.
And no superheroes ever appear in this comic. S.H.I.E.L.D. is there, one of them, but the Hulk's not really the Hulk. He's a machine.
He's a machine.
JPR, John, good to see you, my friend. So
that's one of the big flaws in a lot of movies too. Before they had, the MCU, you'd watch a movie like, well, where are all the other heroes? Like, when Spider-Man was on.
But in comics, it really stands out.
This really stands out, though. Yeah.
Oh, but look at this, though. Seriously, look at this. It's
gorgeous.
Yeah.
This is just. So anyway, the art is just. I mean, that's the thing I enjoyed. All right, I'm gonna lay out the things, my basic criticisms of this comic, because you know how much I love Jack Kirby. Was the king of comics. Mm-hmm. He was a few things. He was not as Stan in some of his more disingenuous speeches tried to make it sound like all Jack did was draw things and all Jack was an artist. He was an artist, yes, who drew more comic pages than anyone who ever lived, but he was also a creator and a writer. Now, Jack's dialogue sometimes is definitely open to criticism. If you read it now, some of his dialogue is cringy and stuff like that. He's always had that criticism. Hey, nobody's beyond criticism, not even the king of comics. Dialogue wasn't his strong suit. However, if you go back and read Stan's old dialogue, it's pretty cringy too. But there's
it's old. It's much old. It's old now too, right? I mean,
the things that stand the test of time are all that matter. The dialogue you can date and go, wow, Jack. But every other thing, whether it's the Silver Age work or this work, the ideas and concepts are just mind-blowing in this comic book. The art goes without saying. It's some of his finest art he's ever done because he really cared about it. He did a lot of studying, and he had a passion for a mythology, and yet he did his own spin on it. This is the Cavern of the Inca, with the gods of the Incas and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. He just loved this. So everything holds up and is still magnificent. It's just his scripting. The story's good. The story is really good because you're seeing that all these gods, these Eternals, these demigods are, well, it's kind of difficult to explain if you haven't read them, folks, but they are definitely his take on all of mythology. And even some of them were actually in some earlier timely comics from the 40s that he took it.
Well, yeah, because if you take the pronunciation of the names, like, I'm not sure how they say it, Makari, but it's supposed to be Mercury.
Makari
so
is
like
Mercury.
Always say, the stupid human accents is one of the lines. So it's
yeah,
right. No, Crow is the devil.
Okay, so you're right about so Clobber, I'm glad you brought up the whole thing with some of the lines are definitely some cheesy ones. However, I will give credit to Jack on this. I do feel like every character had their voice. Like there are some characters who appear later on who I don't want to name drop yet because you may be saving them for as you go on. But like one character is very spiteful. You got a character who's bratty. They got another character who's all about wanting to be like the people person, being the life of the party. I think you know who I'm talking about with the life of the party, Cersei. Yeah, Cersei. And yep. So I do give credit in that sense that every character, and there's a lot of different characters in this book. Every character does feel like their own voice, whether it's an Eternal or in a human being or a Celestial or demon. I do feel like I have to give credit that every character has their own voice, and I can hear that in my head when I'm reading that, and I love that.
That's what I'm saying. His characterization is wonderful. He creates some extraordinary characters. Some of them bear resemblance to some other characters that he has created before. My favorite characters, again, some of the dialogue surrounding them might be clunky, but it doesn't matter. Again, I'm just trying to be fair, and I'm trying to be. I can't sit there and say I have a problem with something, and they just cover it up just because it's Jack.
Yeah.
But it's so minuscule. The dialogue means nothing because the ideas, the characters, the concepts are mind-blowing in this comic, and it's way better than I remembered it. And I every time I read something in there that just so astonished me, and I'm talking about his story concept, I'm going, well, that won't be in the movie. Well, that ain't going to be in the movie. Oh, that sure shit ain't going to be in the movie. Not just from a visual standpoint, a lot of these great ideas that he has in this thing. The scope of it's phenomenal. So what happens, everyone, is the space gods or the Celestials have returned to Earth. They are giants, of course. And I'm sure you get a picture of one here somewhere. There's Icarus in disguise with Dr. Damien and his daughter.
Oh, yeah. He has like a combined name. Remember, he had some name where he took some part from his Icarus name. He took the name split up. What's his name again? He had like a separate name, and then when he combined them together, they make Icarus. I think maybe in issue 2 or 3 he actually says it. I could be wrong.
Oh, it's Ike. That's Ike.
Ike. Okay, Ike.
By the way, yes, they even mentioned that he was also known as Hermes.
Ike Harris. There you go, Matthew Pounder. Ike Harris. Thank you, Matthew Pounder.
Yeah, he gives Ike Harris. Yeah. But anyway, they even mentioned, Raquel, that Marcari was also sometimes known as Hermes. There's Crow, the devil, basically, who decides he wants to stir things up. So he goes to New York and brings a bunch of deviants so he can scare humans into thinking that the devil's come back.
Yeah.
Crazy, outrageous concept. Look at this.
Yeah,
look
he
at
grows
these
horns.
crackles and these machines. He grows horns just so he can scare humans.
Oh, Crow.
Right.
Oh, Crow. Oh, God. This guy. Crow was quite a personality. This guy was basically like, if Thanos was all about death, Crow was all about, what's her face? Thena.
Well, and the thing about it I love about that is, it throws you for a loop because here he starts out. Crow's you think he's just going to be the typical. He doesn't have a mustache, but mustache twirling villain.
Yeah.
Then when Thena shows up later, we find out they had a relationship, and like, wow, Thena has a thoughts for this purple, weird looking. The relationship between Thena and Crow is amazing.
He's got game.
Oh my God, did Crow have game? And I would not expect that. He brings her to his homeland. He's trying to show her up. Like, yeah, this is my land. Like, this is what we do over here. Like, this is our culture.
Well, my 2 favorite characters in this thing, because I like Icarus, of course, and Cersei is very frivolous, of course, but she's fun in a good way. And Zurus, my favorite characters are deviants in this. I love Carcass. And the reject.
Dude. The reject, what a pairing.
Is the best.
Well, Carcass is kind of like the thing, like Ben Grimm, reminded me of Ben Grimm a little bit.
A lot of Ben Grimm in him, but he's also a poet. He looks like again, some of the cornball camp of when the reject is first seen by Athena, and she's talking about how beautiful he is. And then when she brings him to Olympia, which is Olympus.
Yes. Oh, totally.
All the women are fawning over him because he's so beautiful.
I can show that.
But he's raised because he's raised by all these deviants, all these monsters, and he looks like this. As she keeps calling him, handsome human being and stuff. And he's only because he's the deviant there. He's the outcast, and they put him in they've taught him how to do nothing but kill. He's nothing but a stone cold killer, and that's all he knows or cares about is killing things. He almost kills Carcass. Remember at the beginning?
Yeah.
And,
yes.
I love Carcass. The annual is the best. The best issue is the annual.
Dude, that was killer.
Athena, the reject, and Carcass go after Zaka, the guy who's using the crazy time machine to bring killers from and it was pretty silly the way it was bringing the killers back. But those 3 characters, again, say what you want about some of the campiness of the setup or some of the dialogue, his characterization has always been spot on, and he's made. All of them are very well written in terms of their characterization. I love Athena. I actually really do love Carcass and the Reject the best. They're the 2 best characters for me. And we only get really 1 issue with them, as far as to shine, because this comic ended so abruptly.
Yes, and I love the hotel personality that Carcass has to pursue, and he has to work with the Reject. I love that element where they gotta work together to blend in with the humans, because the Reject, he comes from a world where he's just used to being hated on, and Carcass just needs to blend in. He needs to blend in not just because of his attitude, but because of his appearance. And he has to try and maintain that. Otherwise, he has to like not have a Hulk out moment. Because if he, if he steps himself out of line, well, then his true colors come out. I love that play element between the two of them having to work together so they can work, keep Thena like sane. Because she's kind of like the mom who's got to watch over the two boys. Like, all right, I need you two to do this so we can get farther with this. But otherwise, if you two guys like lose control, this kind of messes things up. Of course, we all know how that plays out.
Well, yep. And this guy, tell us what you got here, Mark, because this is.
Well, I was going to say this is the head
Crow
deviant. So
and Toad.
yeah, Crow, yeah, and Toad. So they're the heads of the ruling family, kind of like the
deviants.
You would say maybe the
by the way,
the deviants.
we forgot something. Earlier on in history, the deviants were controlling the earth and enslaving humans. Eternals were not doing much about it, and the space gods came back and wiped out almost all of them.
Yep.
And they want some pay. The deviants want payback. So the Celestials have almost destroyed all of everyone on Earth many thousands of years ago.
Yeah, because the way they explain it, the Celestials come in 4 waves. So I think it
Four
was the
waves.
second. Yeah, so it was the second wave or the third wave that destroyed most of the deviants, and now this comic takes place during the 4th wave or the Judgment wave.
So yes, this comes along in the first 2 issues. First we find out, just let everyone, so we don't backtrack, so we don't have to backtrack again. They Arashim comes along. We meet these people, these humans, and Icarus, and then we meet Ajak, who is not Salma Hayek, even though she is in the movie.
Not at all, like personality and everything.
Nothing like
that's
nothing
gonna
like
be
it.
tough.
It's gonna be ridiculous. So anyway, this 2,000-foot tall giant Arashim is one of the hosts, and is decided that Icarus has to they're going to shut down these walls inside this giant, and Ajak is going to stay inside it for 50 years, and it's going to be a 50-year judgment. The Celestials are going to stay on Earth for 50 years, and this is the late 70s, by the way. We're only a few years later from it.
Right?
Is going to judge humanity after 50 years. Dr. Damien, the father, stays in there with Ajak. He's going to be in there 50 years. Ajak doesn't age. And Icarus takes his daughter out of there, who she does not want to leave.
Yeah, she's very upset with him. I mean, he knocks her out.
Yeah,
this is for your own good. Yeah,
I wanted to backtrack that a little bit to give everyone a little bit of setup.
Yeah, no, that's
context.
good. Yeah, we should give them some setup. And so here's this splash panel page explains, the deviants here. This is your introduction to the 3 different races. So, if you love sci-fi or if you're familiar with, the Chariot of the Gods, it's basically where we've touched on it's, and people in the chat are saying, this is, Prometheus and aliens kind of ripped this off. It's been a concept though, but in terms of aliens coming to Earth and seeding the Earth or affecting evolution, and all the quote unquote alien artifacts or things that we found in the past that look like spaceships that were drawn, and that's why that book, Chariot of the Gods. I think there's a TV series about it, and there's History Channel's done some fun things in terms of technology. So this is really, and Kirby expands upon that idea with his own mythos and creating Mercury, or not creating Mercury, but tying in Mercury and other gods. And it's not Olympus, it's Olympia, but you can you see the where he's going there. So it's they set up this whole backstory where you've got this real mysterious race, and there's no superheroes in it too. So I kept waiting, I don't think I've ever read this, and like you haven't read it in 40 years. I only made it up to issue 12. I didn't finish my homework. I apologize, but
you are fired.
I'm fired, but
You're
I'll finish.
Fired.
What are we paying
Out of
you for,
here.
dude?
What are you paying me for? Yeah, no Reese's Pieces for you. But I'll be. I had a busy night and day yesterday. So
all right, go back home and give me pictures of Spider-Man right now.
Not right now, yeah.
But yes,
50 push-ups, yeah. But it's a
that's what I'm saying.
great
In this
setup,
first issue,
yeah.
it's such a great setup. It's such an intriguing idea.
And that's kind of like 2001: A Space Odyssey. It reminds with that
Raquel
scene at the top. Yeah, with the apes and the monolith is never really explained. Did the monolith in 2001 affect evolution? Who knows? But it's that kind of scene where you're going way back to the dawn of history, and you've got these three races. The one thing I thought was kind of cliched was, the deviants are all, quote unquote evil with the, they look like monsters, until the later issues when you have, I'm forgetting the, not Car. I was going to say Karnak. What's correct? Who's the monster character? Carcass. Thank you. Carcass.
I love Carcass.
Yeah. So he's, I just started reading a few issues with him. So, he's the character that kind of breaks the norm, and they're talking about, how it's not so cliched there, where, all the, the good guys don't always, look ugly, I guess.
Well, they explore that. The reject is a cold, absolutely. He's the one that looks like a human being that everyone, the women are fawning over him. That he's turned into a cold-blooded. All he cares about is killing. He was raised to be a killer. It's all he cares about. Although he does show some honor, of course. But whereas Carcass looks like this hideous monster, very like you said, there's some Ben Grimm in there, and yet Thena finds out he has the soul of a poet, and he has a hey Decepticon, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, his dialogue is great. His dialogue is fantastic. The way Kirby writes him,
Yeah, I love what he does with Carcass. So, let's see. I think Decepticon, who hopefully will be reviewing the movie with us. It's almost criminal what future non-Kirby Eternal stories did to some of these characters, mainly Thena, Sprite, and even the Celestials. It's disgusting. I mean, disgusting.
God, I don't even know, and I'm at the point where I'm afraid to know. My God, isn't once again Crow is the character who has mad game, but look at how wimpy he looks right here. He's like, oh, rocks. Like, yeah, and yet he has mad game with Theta. This is funny how this works.
Well,
that was a big surprise too. It's like, what's going on?
He lets Toad boss him. He lets Toad boss him around for some reason.
Yeah, he does.
I don't know, but anyway. So I'm sorry I backtracked on you, but I wanted to give a little more context to the setup there. And I told you,
it's a great setup.
How I look, I always get things backwards.
Oh yeah, they mentioned it too on the cover. More fantastic than Chariots of the Gods. Yep, right on the cover.
Kirby was very, very well read, very literate, because he grew up in a time when you wanted to be, and he wanted to be, and he was really, really someone who studied all of this stuff in terms of mythology and just all these other. He was just amazing, and he was a creative force like no other. Edited, written, drawn by Jack Kirby. Look at this. Look at this.
Yeah, well, I want to say too. Every second or third page. And every issue is this gorgeous splash page. And what's nice too in the digital form, it's not broken down. So it's I should print some of these and put them on the wall.
Dude,
it's really gorgeous in the digital form. I can imagine Kirby drawing this.
I would own a print of this straight up. Look at I know I could look at this all day. It reminds me of that scene in I think Ferris Bueller where they're kind of looking at all the paints at the museum. Like it should just be a lot of these early Eternals issues with all his splashes, because stuff like this would look amazing in a museum. All right, maybe there needs to be a Kirby museum. Maybe that's what it needs to be. But
I've dreamed of starting one. There is one, sort of, but it's more like an online thing. But I've dreamed of starting one.
This may need to be what's at the front door, just so you can give people something that's big in scale and it's rich in color. Like obviously Kirby's not the colors, but these were the colors that had his seal of approval on them.
Well, yes, he did. He did, since he's the editor of the book as well. He dictated all the colors to, I think, Linus Wynn or someone like that probably colored it. I forgot who did. They had different colors back then. This was still being inked by John Verpoorten, who passed sometime around that time. He was a pretty good inker. The best Kirby inkers are the ones who leave him alone. After this, Mike Royer, who was a regular inker for him on some other DC titles, did ink the rest of the series. The best Kirby inkers leave him alone. And that means they don't erase backgrounds and shit like Vince Colletta. And even Vince Colletta didn't do it to Kirby's the only one he didn't do it to. And you don't overpower Kirby. It's pretty much impossible. So, you just finish the thing up. And since this was Kirby's baby, this one really meant a lot to him. And again, my God, a Kirby machine. I could stare at a Kirby machine all day. And
there's
so
Kirby much going on here. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me get some burgers. We'll cook some burgers, and we'll just look at Kirby art, admiring Kirby art. We'll cook some burgers for us, Clobbering. That's what we're gonna do.
And Steve is
saying the bouncing energy. Yeah, so it follows your eye.
Energy. Kirby pages move. He can tell more story and communicate more of what he has to say in one page or a 2-pager like this than many artists could do in 10, 15 pages.
We don't need no stinking dialogue. Just the art, right?
No, just you with this art. I mean, like I could feel, I could hear the picture moving. When you can hear the picture, I can hear sounds of like spacey, type of sounds going on. That's what I like that when I see these designs, I can see and hear the picture. And that's what I want because that lets me know that I'm immersed in the book, that I'm invested in the book. That's what I want, and this does exactly that.
Well, let's go through some of the see a couple of the splash.
And there's
pages.
a lot of great splashes through.
This is one of my favorite double page splashes of all comics ever. That's Arishim, and one of the Celestials, one of the space gods. He and was it Ajax and Dr. and Professor Damien end up staying inside of him, or that where they are.
Dude,
under the force field. Yep.
Okay, my heavy breathing is intensifying. I mean, I thought eating 4 Baconators was tough, but seeing this art, this is giving me even heavier breathing.
And then on his that's the formula destroy the earth too. I think under his palm too.
And again, he's going to stand there for 50 years to judge us, and that's why they Icarus, Dr. Damien, Professor Damien. Is he wants to stay because all he cares about is learning about he's an archaeologist, right? I believe, and he just wants to learn. This is like his life, but he asks Icarus to take his daughter out before the force field goes up. He has minutes to get her out of there, and while he Icarus, Ajax not going to age, so it doesn't matter to him. 50 years is nothing.
They live forever. Yep.
Yeah. So
and they can't be killed either. Yep.
Can't be killed. They keep saying that sometimes, and other times I don't know. But Icarus, later they get wonky with it. But Icarus takes Margot Damien out. She's the human, kind of human character in the thing for the most part. And so you're in issue like 2 or 3 right here, right, or something. 2 or 3?
Yeah, this is 3. Yeah,
3.
It'd be fun maybe to show just some of the splash panels in a row.
Yeah, just show some of the splashes. We'll talk a little bit about.
And then
so they go to New York. Crow decides he wants the deviants to take over, and he wants to scare humans and he wants to make them superstitious again, thinking that demons. He thinks they want him to think that hell has risen to take over again. Yes. He wants to play on the fears and the superstitions of humans. That's why he looks like the devil, like you said, Nick. He grows a horn.
Yeah.
I
love this page.
Right? Look at this. Like, you got a little bit of a lot of the New York City biz, they have that color of what looks like it would not have been out of place on like the 60s Spider-Man cartoon. But then you have the suits and the armor of all these goons, and they're all the red and the orange, and then the guns look like they're advanced, and I love the blue and the silver that they meld together. And you're like, wow. And even though we're in the age of advanced technology, I look at that, I'm like, wow, that looks advanced. And that was from the 70s, the 1970s, if you will. And here we are in 2021 saying that. That speaks volumes of how ahead of Kirby's time he was. Like the thought put into this is, the word doesn't exist. I'm sorry. I failed at words. I admit it. I yield. I failed at words here.
That's why he's the king, dude.
The movie doesn't have any of these colors in it, really. It looks like until we see it's very muted. Like Icarus,
very dull palette.
Is very. They have the 3, circles, I guess, on his uniform. It's very, like you said, it's very.
It's not an Icarus uniform. I had to say that because, especially. And then, once again, I'm going to be repeating some words I've said on past streams, so anyone who's heard me on our streams, I apologize for being repetitive, but I have to emphasize this, because CLOBBERIN has always pointed out that comics are a visual medium, and on top of that, I feel like that has greater meaning with the Kirby look. That has even greater meaning than it normally does to begin with, because it helps give you a distinct look and feel of what you see when you look at a Kirby product, and it gives you that preconceived notion of what is the Kirby like element. And I look at the movie and this is not the Kirby element, which is funny because now they want to talk about Jack Kirby. Now they care. And I feel like it's just like very antithetical. And once again, bringing it back to Thor Ragnarok, movie flaws and all, the one of the things that it did get right was the Kirby look. Like, you had a lot of colorful moments in that movie. And once again, not going to go off of opinions. It's just of the movie in general, but the color palette of it, Taika Waititi got that aspect right, and I will at least give him credit for getting that right, because Chloe Zhao and whoever else is involved, this doesn't seem like that. This just seems like a drama flick, like a soap opera drama flick on the CW with a bit of a higher budget.
Well, yeah, there are more machines. My goodness.
Yeah, this one didn't have a splash page. I think maybe.
No,
this drawing I thought was fantastic. That was one of the best drawings.
That's basically Zurus,
yeah.
And this is just an astonishing work.
I thought that was a fantastic drawing. And you could see the time that Kirby spent on this.
And
drawing,
this is, again, and not only an editorial decision, but an artistic decision. He decides to go with one, not a two-page page splash. Kirby throws more splash pages at you than anyone else. Cartoonists generally, a lot of them want multiple panels to tell the story for various reasons. He could communicate so much to you with that one face, that big face covering the whole page, with a few words and a giant. I mean, look how much of it takes up the whole page. It's just mind-boggling.
This is, once again, this is just a one-page splash too. I like that it's just a one-page splash. And yet, once again, you're still immersed by the colors. And I know if Lord Thoth, if you're out there listening, you're saying this, #Save Gingers, that is is an element to behold there. That is seriously an element to behold there.
And when you mentioned Nick, how comic books are a visual medium, that is why I always tell people, when you hear a lot of people when they try to defend all the changes, especially this is amazing. All of the aesthetic changes that you see in a comic book adapted movie. Leave it on this one for a second, if you would want to finish this point.
Yeah, that's what. I was trying to find these. Yeah,
they'll adapt a comic book or character, and it'll look how it'll have very little resemblance to the character. The film will, and when you bitch about it, you're being a fanboy. You're a dumbass. It doesn't have to be exactly like the comic. Well, you know what? You lose when you are adapting a comic book character. So when you refuse to make it a visual, I think to respect the visual aspect of this character by being really, really visual, then you totally destroy, the character, because you
don't recognize them.
You don't recognize them when you set out to make a movie about the Eternals and and your template is not this comic book, where they come from. And it's really not even some of the other crappier ones they did later, but it's certainly not this one. Then
Deceptus Sean 77 is a great comment at 1107.
I see that.
I'm dreading how they're going to handle the Unimind.
I love that concept with the Unimind, which obviously we haven't gotten that far yet. But go on, Clobberin. You were saying.
No, I think that I'm betting you, just Sean, that they probably won't even have the Unimind. If they do, it will, like a lot of things you see in these films, it will bear very little resemblance to the Kirby version of the Unimind, which was, again, just everything that's what I'm saying. I joke about, I'm fair, and I'll criticize dialogue the ideas in this comic are breathtaking. You just read that and you go, my God, this man had the most potent imagination in all of comics, the entire history. That's why he's the king. And it's not even close. And there are a lot of, I love comics. There are a lot of people I love. Kirby is a genre unto himself because he's and the Jack Kirby Collector, there's a running feature called Kirby as a genre. Which means, who else has a magazine about them for 30 years and is a genre, because he revolutionized every genre he worked in for 3 different times in the history of comics. And he takes science fiction fantasy like this to a whole new level.
Yeah. Here's the thing. It's one thing if there was like a change of a character very seldomly, because it's not, I'm not saying that makes me let it pass, but at that moment in time, it lets me think, okay, maybe they actually did try to find the best actor and this happened to be what it was. But with Eternals, they literally said, word for word, if you want me to find the receipts, I will dig for it. Maybe I'll say it for the movie review, that they had the intent to change these characters on purpose. This wasn't about the best actor. They wanted to change these characters because they thought, okay, these are lesser known characters. We'll get less blowback if we tackle this particular property. So they had an intention, and that's unfortunate to even the good actors, because you don't know if even the good actors were casted based on there. They were casted on optics, demographic optics, and that's unfair to even the good actors because you don't know if they were honestly casted. And
well, yeah, well, I was gonna say, add Nick too.
Go
Like
ahead.
they obviously changed the samurai character, Japan. You know, they want
Yes.
to play to China, so that character obviously was changed to Japan is not, has invaded China several times. Is not so popular in China, so that's one reason that's my reason I suspected they changed that character to a Bollywood star. So they still had him be allegedly a movie star, but and then how is it going to work with the dynamics of the characters? It's not like there weren't any women or in this series either. So it's changing Ajax to a woman. It's just going to change the whole dynamic. And maybe Sprite, I could see maybe change. Maybe Sprite you could change if you had to pick one to change, but change.
And here's the thing, though, Mark. I get what you're saying, but it just
you don't
because
need to
I
do
heard
it,
the words. Because I heard the words intent, the key word is the intent. It lets me know how needless it
how
is.
They were
and
thinking,
this brings me back to young Ripa. He's obviously has covered a lot of stuff before he stopped covering it, but Ripa was talking about how needless these changes are, because before a show like WandaVision came up, no one knew who Agatha Harkness was. Now everyone cares, which is fine. But it shows you no one cared about how the character looked or acted or was portrayed. Now that it was put on a very big public medium, now they care because now it's put in front of them to talk about, and they see as that. They're not seeing it as the original incarnation, interpretation, whatever the word you want to use is. So it just shows you how needless it is, because we're the ones who know what these characters actually look like, and they're trying to cast us out. They truly are invested on replacing us with another demographic, which is very fine because so far we're half a decade into this demographic, and they have yet to succeed in replacing us, and it's not even close. But go on, Mark. Sorry,
well, I was going to say, you made a great point about actors. Say you're auditioning, and I've heard this happen before. They find an actor. Oh my God, you'd be great at this part, and that's not. And your point is, that's not what happened. Where they said, oh, this person, even though it's a girl, that's a young actor. Oh my God, she'd be phenomenal as Sprite. Well, maybe we should change the script, to work that in. And instead of doing that, they set out with well, let's change, Jack Kirby's ideas and to fit our ideology or quote unquote diversity. When you didn't really need to do that with this. With his property, and there's no good reason to do it other than
it's dishonest. It's dishonest too. It's not only dishonest to Jack Kirby, but it's even dishonest to the actors and actresses involved, because you're not casting them honestly. You're choosing them based on the demographic list. It's oh well, I can't hire you. We already have too many Espanol people. I can't hire you because there's too many whites. But go on, Clubby.
I want to get away from the movie a little bit, but I wanted to, again, we got to swing it back away from that.
Yeah, let's swing it back. We're getting lost.
But I did want to address one thing. That's okay. No, you guys are doing great, man. But I did want to address one thing that Decepticon said that it's sort of about the movie, but it does represent a more important point. The first series set up the Eternals as a set of intriguing, interconnected relationships. Kirby's vision was sweeping and epic. It took its time. A movie wouldn't capture that successfully. Not only do I agree with that, I think that can be said of even some good comic book movies, because my thing about that, Sean, is these characters. You only have a couple of hours to do, especially when you're introducing characters, like in this case. And all these characters, when they're introduced in comic books, it's different. You got one issue and you got if sales hold up, you can have plenty of issues to let these characters and concepts breathe. So you don't have to jam everything into a movie for 2 hours. It's not easy. I mean, you get lucky once in a while, like Christopher Reeve's, Donner's Superman, RDJ's Iron Man, some of the other ones, the early MCU movies, before they
you
were
just said she.
I said it for a reason, because I was going to follow up with before they became when they were still the MCU. All right, sorry. Damn, dude. Now I don't know where I'm going. Anyway, hang on a second. Thank you, Eric K. As Clobby always tells me in private, thank God Stanley taught Kirby all he knew. Thank you for the $5 super chat, Eric K. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I don't know this Clobby he's talking about, but it must be a different one. I never knew there was another
Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I do call it the MCU now because that's what it is. But I meant it was once the MCU. But thank you. So derailed now. I don't know what I was doing. So let's.
Well, the one thing I would say, I kind of agree with the sentiment of long form. That's why I love the idea of like the Daredevil show, where you can really break out multiple episodes and really tell the story and have it breathe. I was kind of thinking the movies are kind of like annuals, because you only have that one issue of that 2 hours to tell the story. Well,
it's just much like I've always said, Star Trek is a TV show. I'm talking even real Trek. And even though some of the movies are okay, we love Rathacon and some other, just whichever one you happen to love, the real Trek movies. It's still a square peg round hole. Star Trek needs to be a TV series. Because in a movie you frequently got to reinvent the wheel every time. You get 2 hours to knock it out of the park. You can't do the smaller introverted stories. And Star Trek works best when it's that. It's made to be on television. Well, these characters are really made to be in serialized form, or at least in short story form.
Well, they're so complex.
Or a combination of both. Whereas a movie is not the right fit, even though you get a good one sometimes. I mean, I love a lot of the MCU and now MCU movies. Well, I don't like any of the MCU ones, but I love a lot of the MCU ones. But I still don't think it's the right place for them, especially when you come across one like Eternals and you do decide to make it. You don't need to make the movie. Make it a series of some sort. And as bad as the Disney Plus shows are, that is actually a good format for them. In other words, 6 to 8 episodes. You could let a story breathe. You could introduce new characters like this, and it would work. And it could be in a smaller category, but it doesn't. I mean, you can still, with today's modern effects, you can make it look really good, and the characters will be introduced so much better.
Yeah, I can see what you're coming from. Yeah, you get to flesh out the character, give them more depth to the characters, because especially there are some supporting characters who can use that, and the TV show format does give them that platform to do that, to give them the added elements, and you can give more investment into the characters, and you can feel for them more, or in some cases hate the character, or usually particularly a villain. Like, well, this guy's messed up, and you want to see what he does next, type of thing. And when you have a good villain like that, you think, oh God, what's this guy gonna do next? And you see those moments in the show, like, oh crud, this guy's messed up. Like, particularly like Kingpin, you get fascinated with every time when he snaps, because you're thinking, what's he gonna do next? How much more longer is he's gonna stay in the shadows, type of thing? And what was I talking about? Sorry, you
Sorry,
caught me at artwork here.
I prawned you.
Go for it. No, on the comic, there again, I want everyone to see.
Yeah, let's get back on to comics.
On this, yes, yeah. Since it's more fun, well, it's better. So, all right,
I love this logo. Tell me how cool this logo is. Sorry.
When gods walk the earth,
just the 3D. I'm sure Kirby came up with that. I mean, just look how cool that logo is.
Oh yeah, he did it all, man. Now, if you see this character up here with the thing on his head, he's saying, "Come back, you can't escape the space god." That is Salma Hayek. Just kidding. We're still talking about the comic again. That's what it is.
Yes.
No. Ajax, again, he didn't really get to do a lot of because again, this got canceled. This comic ended abruptly.
Yes, it did. Did it end abruptly?
And he was around later in other stuff. Like there was a 12-issue miniseries in the mid '80s by Peter Gillis and Sal Buscema. Buscema, I love Buscema. I know a lot of people don't like Sal, but I like Sal. What can I tell you? So if you want to show us some more art, you can flip.
Yeah, let's show the splash.
Please show us. Oh, dude, just look at this. What's that? I love the Celestials. Anytime there's a Celestial, you just kind of like have to stop, look, and then you just don't think. This is, there's that one clip that went around when the guy's like, stop asking questions. Just consume and get excited for next product. Well, if this is the product that I was consuming and get excited for next product, aka next page of Kirby, this was consume and get excited for next one. This is my equivalent of consume. Because look at it. Just look at it.
Yeah.
I hear it. Heath Ledger Joker. Look at it. Oh my god. I feel like Vince McMahon right now. Or Jim Ross. It's gonna be a slobber knocker. Look at it.
Can you imagine if somebody had taken the care and the pride to visually transcribe this to a screen? I know we keep folding back to the movie, but
it's tough not to.
We're here. It's tough not to. But imagine someone tried to do this.
That'd be totally amazing.
And to see this on the screen.
Well, maybe we'll get it tomorrow. You never know. There's a 1 in a million chance. You mean there's a 1 in a million chance? Sorry.
Dumb and Dumber.
So you're saying there's a chance. So yeah, just this comic, folks. It's mind-boggling. Again, I love this page, by the way. You could sit there and just look at the art all day. I mean, yeah, I'm saying read the story because there's so many wonderful ideas, concepts, and really good characters, which we're going to show in some of our favorites in a little bit. Decepticons, Kirby kept the Celestials mysterious and above controversy in the first series, not raising deviants as food like the Gaiman. Oh, good Lord. Did you read the Gaiman run? I'm sorry, man. I didn't. Having ulterior motives that make no sense like the movie. Yeah. And there's the thing, Sean, I didn't read much of the second. They're like 5 volumes, okay? You've got, of course, this one, the real one. And in the mid-'80s, they did, Peter Gillis was an okay comics writer. Did one with the Sal Buscema one. Again, that's fine. They were kind of, I think that's where they were really kind of melded into the Marvel Universe officially. Then you got the Gaiman run at 2000 or whatever was volume 3. Then somewhere a few years later, they did volume 4. And then this year's volume 5 of the comics. I'm talking about, which 5 is them serving the movie. Volume 5 is them trying to validate garbage. All the garbage, that trash that is in the movie is being validated by the comics division right now by volume 5, which came out this year.
You say
after the movie. Yeah, I know. Oh, sorry. Well, hail the comics division.
Hail comics division.
Hail comics division. We love comics division. But okay, I'll say department next time. Yeah, see, there's unclear things though because these guys are from S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're from S.H.I.E.L.D., yep.
So and we will see much of stuff after. Like there's a few issues where they're I think in issue 2. And after that, it's like they've never heard from again. It's kind of like an episodic appearance.
And he's got a pocket tactical nuclear device in the palm of his hand.
That's like, very S.H.I.E.L.D.
Throws at the Celestial. It's like
so
amazing.
Okay, Marvel Universe references in all 20 comics, which is 19 issues and an annual. Okay, that I can remember. I love this page. That's
great here with all the Celestials.
Oh.
Celestials, boy. Anyway, all right. You had that one with S.H.I.E.L.D., okay? You had the Thing's head, when Cersei makes the guy look like the Thing's just a goof to scare the kid or whatever. And there's the Thing for the Fantastic Four. And then later you have the Hulk, if you see the issue with the Hulk robot thingy.
Yes,
which somehow
Cosmic Hulk.
He becomes Cosmic Hulk because cosmic energy just powers him up and he starts fighting Icarus and he can't be beaten and all this kind of stuff. Aside from that, there's also in that issue where they talk about Marvel Comics characters. In other words, yes. I don't know if Kirby wanted it to be in that universe.
Because, it makes you wonder.
Because later some of these characters popped up in Thor, and then later Cersei was in Avengers. But
And Gilgamesh was an Avenger.
Gilgamesh, yeah. So
And I didn't know he was an Eternal. You know, I had no
Yeah,
idea about the Eternals when I started reading that. Yeah.
but they, but the thing is, Olympia. There's a Marvel Olympus too, though, with the Hercules and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, here's the reject. This
The reject.
is the start
All right.
of what ultimately became a great pairing that I didn't know I had to invest in.
I loved the reject. Yes, that is true. Thor Ragnarok is credited with bringing Kirby visuals to the screen, but I felt it just scratched the surface. I'm so with you there, Decepticon. There was some nice stuff, but not enough for me.
Well,
Anyway,
you could always do more.
Yes. Here's one of the first
There's
surprises.
Crow,
This is one of the
Crow right
first
here. Yeah.
surprises in the comic right here.
Here we go.
Crow got game.
Crow and Athena were a thing.
Hashtag Crow got game.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
before
like-
this, he was just like a slimy little dude that was started all this trouble in New York. And again, I reiterate about the Marvel connection. All these New York is being destroyed by all of these demons and shit, and not one superhero shows up.
Yeah, think Avengers. You know, the Avengers movie.
Avenger or anything. Yeah,
That's it. Yeah. Totally
This is a
destroyed.
very
Yeah.
established Marvel universe
Yeah.
at that point in 1976. So I don't know, but I don't know what the deal is with that. But yeah, see, again, Crow before this, this was threw me for a loop because I'm like, wait a minute,
Yeah. Like, what's going on here?
this guy and her. Okay, weird, but okay, but
Well, people fall for the devil, right?
okay, yeah, and that's Angelina Jolie in the movie. But yes, no, at least she's not and everything, I guess.
Did they change Crow's character? Did they?
I don't.
Is
I
he
haven't
even
seen.
in the movie?
Yeah, I think so, but I haven't even seen Crow. I've seen. That's almost. I'm almost interested to see what they do with him, but it's not going to be good.
Oh yeah. Imagine that being good. Crow of all the
No way.
things.
No way. But so here you got that was pretty surprising. Then you had the reject. Here's another thing that
And
surprised
Cersei goes crazy.
I remember Cersei like has the hots for this weird old doctor dude.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this look at this professor, this fox.
She loves geeks.
I gotta give her credit. Cersei, she was into them when they're out of style. So I will give Cersei credit. She's the life of the party. She's into the geek.
Now, get it right, or Raquel's going to put you in detention, Mark. He's a nerd.
Oh, he's a nerd. Okay.
Oh,
he's a professor.
He's a professor, so he's a nerd. Okay.
Yeah. That was freaky too. It's like because Cersei's just this crazy, frivolous character.
Nuts about this guy.
And she likes this. I mean, he doesn't look like. In other words, he don't look like the reject, like some big, badass dude or something, like a big, He's a foppish looking old goofy ass stuffy professor, and she's all into him. I thought that was funny.
Oh, with the glasses.
What makes it funnier is
he looks
because
like middle aged too, though.
Yeah,
no, he looks middle aged. He looks like he definitely does look like the guy that would attract. And yet, on top of it, it's kind of like she brings him up in that romantic interest, and he does it. She goes out of her way to bring up. It's kind of like, hey, how's the sun outside? Oh, it's really nice. Oh, by the way, I like you.
Oh, I thought that from Alberta. Ouch.
And the thing is, though, I don't want to say.
Kick me tomorrow night so I don't fall asleep during the movie.
I can't say what I want to say about him, but I'm like, what a fill in the blank, because this guy could have had, he could mess with Cersei, and he's acting like a big.
Yeah,
oh my god, he's such a
he's
he's like a prototype soy boy. Like before there was skinny soy vegan latte, this guy was just the skinny latte. He was the skinny latte equivalent. So that's what he was.
Yeah.
Look at this page, God.
Oh,
I can imagine that in a movie. How the only thing I can think of is maybe the
that's beautiful.
The first Phantom Menace, maybe when they go undersea. Doesn't touch this, but
my intelligence is dying.
Crow's in the trailer. Crow's in the trailer, but the deviants look like one-note villains in the movie. Seeing it tomorrow.
Oh,
well, yeah,
inconceivable.
Sean, we're going to see it also. Unfortunately, we're all going to suffer the same fate. And Friday night, J-Man's coming on with us. And, of course, you are cordially invited, Sean. He said, I think he said he was inviting you, so you've got your invite. But this is fantastic. Well, again, no one uses the 1 or 2 page splash the way Kirby did. I mean, no one of him comes close.
Yeah, and your eye goes right through here with the line, boom, looking through the panel. It just pulls you into this section here. It's brilliant. Yep.
Violent. Mark's already been kicked like once today.
Yeah. Poor guy.
I think he just got kicked into Europe.
This was hilarious though, like the whole Crow and Thena thing.
Oh, like he's
I bet that's
showing
not gonna be in
off.
the movie.
He's
I bet
showing.
that-
Oh no!
Yeah.
Hey, I bet that won't be in the freaking movie.
No.
No
Won't
way.
be
Will, Crow and Athena. No way. Because there is some pretty sexist crap in here that's funny.
Oh, totally. Yeah. There's some dialogue I'm like, that shit ain't gonna fly in a 2020
Yeah.
movie.
Even I'm admitting some of it's sexist, but it's still fun.
No, it totally is sexist, and there's definitely some sexist, misogynist
Mad would love
stuff.
that. Mad
Morgan would eat this. I think maybe for Christmas I'll give Mad Mardigan a copy of the trade of this original run, and he would just like, I need to talk about this book, guys. Okay.
There's like only a couple things here and there, but it's there.
But
yeah, it's a product of the times. But
point,
this is one of the most horrific few panels I thought in the book was when
Matt
they find out
Martin
what they're doing
good
with the
at
deviant.
emphasization of these things. He'll take those 5 panels and he'll emphasize it on it for an hour.
This is important right here to the story though, as well, though, Nick and Mark, because I'm glad you touched on this. We go to where the deviants live, and was it Lemuria? What are they?
Lemuria.
Lemuria, and because it's underwater. I think so. And we see how Kirby puts a lot of things in here about how because you look different, because you're called deviants, because you're, there's a lot of prejudice. They have a very serious, strict caste system. A bunch of shitheads running over the masses. A lot of totalitarianism. And again, Thena's appalled that that people are treated horribly just because of the way they look and all this kind of stuff. Kirby puts a lot of that in there. And what's interesting is they have that. And when she finally sees their best fighter, are we coming close to the deviant? The reject.
Yeah, we did show the reject before, but here, look, they've got the skull on this. I just noticed that now, the skull on this
what
truck.
About it?
Well, just in terms, I didn't catch that before in first read, but there's a skull on this truck, so it's collecting all the deviants that are too deviant for the deviants, and and then they're just killing them all.
MJ1 Media, there he is. There's the reject. I love the friggin' reject.
Yep.
And again, he's considered the most hideous and ugly of them all. She sees him and says how beautiful he is and all this kind of stuff and how handsome and all this crap. And yet, since they're deviants, he's the most disgusting. They hate him the most.
They hate him the most, and he's the reject. You know how many guys would kill to have the dashing hair?
That's why they hate him.
And the opposing, kick ass, I could take these guys, even though he's kind of invested in this hate mentality, because he's kind of like a Damian Wayne, where he's just trained to to hurt and to maybe to some degrees to kill, and yet here he is being this ladies' man, and you can tell he does. He
doesn't care about anything but killing. But she
doesn't care. But she likes him.
Does this remind anyone? Does this remind anyone of Star Wars? Maybe a certain scene in Jedi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh wait,
and it predates it,
right? So they're fighting.
You're right.
Right.
But
so they're bringing out the big monster for the handsome guy to fight. Right.
The whole thing is, reject looks like that, like a human. He's the monster because he really is monster. He was trained. He was turned into a monster, and there he is. Man, I love Carcass. He's my favorite.
So, and what was the name of that Twilight Zone episode where the famous one where they're giving plastic surgery and the woman's so hideous and they can't fix her? Eye of the Beholder, and then Donna they take Douglas. The bandages off at the end, and she looks like Marilyn Monroe.
She was Donna Douglas from Beverly Hillbillies.
Yep. So
Ellie Mae, right?
So gorgeous woman. Then the reveal is all the other doctors and nurses look like pig creatures with, to us, deformed faces. And they're like, sorry, we can't fix you. So that's what I was thinking of with the reject, and that kind of thinking too, where he's he looks perfect and he's stuck among quote unquote the monsters.
Yes. But Carcass, again, this is my Ben Grimm prejudice or my thing prejudice showing.
Yep.
I just love him. You got the cover with him on there?
Yeah, that's number 9 here, right? Yep, here we go. Number 9, right?
Yeah. He's the killing machine. And you know who they're talking? You know what's funny? This cover is pretty interesting because he can't be controlled. He can't be stopped. He's the killing machine. You think they're talking about the monster right there.
It's
Carcass,
the reject, yeah.
But it's the reject, the guy shooting him.
Right?
Kirby was just a genius.
That's where I thought the series really started rolling these last few issues. You know, the first issues were setups, I think, when the introduction of these characters and the fight in New York, and that's when it really gained steam. And of course, and you can always judge a good comic too, because like, do you want to keep reading the next one? So when you hit that last page, even if you're tired at night, you're like, oh,
that's what I was doing.
A cliffhanger. I gotta read the next issue. I gotta read the next issue.
Guts to know.
Guts to know.
No, look, yeah, I'm the same way. And he just and his pacing is pretty good. Again, I think some of these characters would have gotten more time to breathe. Icarus gets more and more to do as the thing goes along. Makari gets a little bit more and more. This page right here, Jesus God.
Yeah, look at that.
Oh my God! Look at this. I'm sorry, I had to come in. You guys gave me the perfect moment to hop back on.
No problem, brother.
Well, we don't need to say anything. Just look at the panel.
Just,
yeah,
just astonishing. And then you got
everyone.
Yeah,
take a moment of silence just to look.
Oh yeah, dynamism, scope, all these different things. It's grandiose. I often wondered if. And by the way, this is a guy Kirby. He did a lot of detective. He did like police crime comics, romances. He did comics that didn't require any of this kind of stuff, and it's still, and they still look spectacular.
This should have been Game of Thrones.
He could make a romance comic look spectacular.
HBO should have just done this for Game of Thrones. Said Game of Thrones, it should have been the Eternals as their Game of Thrones, or there's the 8 to 9 seasons, and that would have benefited something like this so much more. We were talking about it earlier, but now that I have it figured out in my head, it would have benefited the Game of Thrones format. That would have been the definitive format. Long exposition episodes with still some action, the beautiful visuals, and with the amount of characters that they have, you can eventually cover them all inevitably.
Yep. Yeah. And Steve Mitchum is saying the circular composition to keep your eye going around and around the page. So
that's a good,
if you follow
point.
The cursor, it's drawn. You're drawn this way, and the arcs here, and then these characters are sweeping in.
I want to live on a Kirby house like that.
And then how to get that the perspective works too. It's just so well done. It fits. It just fits. Yep. So brilliant. Yep.
Absolutely. Nothing like a Kirby action scene. Splam. And again, you go. One of the great things also is you go by 2 or 3 or 4 pages that are paneled pages, and then he always gives you a payoff with a big ass splash.
That's right. Yes, the great Sprite scene. This is one of my favorite scenes in the entire run period. The scene with Sprite
because Sprite's making this creature. Sprite is creating these creatures. Yeah.
Yes, Sprite's great, but it's what Icarus does to him. That is something that would not fly, not just in movies today, but in comics today, and it's so freaking funny. I know you're getting closer to that moment. Oh, I love this. It's just man, it's at that moment when Icarus gets him, and you're like, that moment.
That moment. Okay, I thought you were thinking shooting him there. Yeah.
No.
Spanking. Yep.
Yeah, the spanking. Right. And last one, I'm like, wow, you want that? Oh, dude. I feel like an Animaniac right now. If I had to be one, it'd probably be Yakko, because I'd just be yakking in awe about this ship and a celestial, and I can feel the perspective of being in that ship and looking up there at a deviant. They're like, whoa.
Yeah, and the dialogue here, they're like, that thing isn't real. I hear there's a movie outfit on location that's shooting a science fiction film. It frightens me, Harry. Please head back for shore. Well, Mad would have a field day with that line, but the woman getting frightened. Yep. Today they'd have the guy getting frightened in the boat.
Of course. I love this page. This is fantastic.
This is great too. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he's always had this thing when someone's underwater. You know, he
bubbles.
does the bubbles and
the
that's just everything
crackle
about
stuff. Yeah.
And
I was reading some of this on my casting this to my big screen TV, which was even cooler too.
Oh, it looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark, that had to have looked amazing.
It looks amazing.
I was just looking at my phone and I was still annoyed. I probably would faint and my girlfriend would probably pass out 3. I'm like, she would probably accuse me of being drunk. I'm like, oh no, I was just admiring this art. What? You don't understand.
And Mrs. D's like, what are you doing reading a comic on? What are you doing
on TV? Was there a comic on TV?
Was there a comic on TV? How'd you do that? I got a review tonight. Yep.
The fight between the two before they unify. Yes.
Reject is a bastard, and Carcass is again. I don't know, man. It's so sad that we didn't get more Kirby versions of these characters because I don't really know what they did with them after because I didn't read them that much, so I don't know. But man, I only want them that way anyway. The series is the true Eternals to me. Roy Thomas Thor run of Eternal stories is a good continuation. Yes, and all other incarnations are false off brand Eternal stories. Absolutely agree, Sean. And the thing is that I think it wasn't too long after this where they started popping up in Thor.
Was that the one that was titled Thor and the Eternals?
Say again?
Was that the Thor and the Eternals one? I know there's a collected edition of the Thor and the Eternals.
Yeah, I think there is one. Yeah, I'm probably good. I need to pick that up.
I do too. Holy crap.
The problem is they changed the way it looks. So in current comics,
looks again, horrible. Like I said, my theory was I'm not so sure Kirby wanted him to be in the Marvel Universe because unless every superhero was on vacation when they were in New York, kept getting slammed.
But this is what they did to him recently. I don't know if you guys can see that or. So
that ain't not my. It sucks, donkey.
Who's he?
It looks Carcass. Like it looks like Bortus. He looks like Bortus.
Right,
dude. He looks bored. Like seriously, just look at him. I'm Carcass. Dude. He looks like a herder.
Unfortunately, that's Carcass today.
Ouch. Yeah. Like, and I'm not even saying just to criticize. Like, I look at that, I'm like, I feel the hurt on me emotionally. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. This is a big fight between the two.
Well, he's just. I mean, the reject, and I love the fact that he's just the reject. He doesn't have a name.
He's no name. The reject.
He's just the reject, and because he's a reject, because he looks, he looks hideous to them.
To them, yeah. Here he is, like to us, like a person. No, I was wondering as I was reading this. I'm like, I wonder if they're gonna like eventually give him a name. Nope, he just stays the reject.
I'll kill you all. Go back up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you could.
I hate you. Right?
I hate you.
I hate you. I'll kill you. No, kill you all. Die, make it suffer. And then you have this the page after this, I think. Yeah, I'll kill you all. You'll see. Then, Crow's like, yeah, he's probably not pretty nice or anything. Like, I mean, I'm a really good guy. Yeah, he's a jerk, but I'm a great guy. You should like me. Poor creature. Yeah, with the lot of an outcast has robbed him of any worth and worthy emotions. I pity him. Thena is very nice.
Too nice. Like at this point,
killed.
Yeah. At this point, Crow is getting desperate. Thena's just like, I'm not so sure about all this. She's starting to see the red flags around these issues. She's starting to see like, okay, this guy is just he's all talking. He's truly just trying to win me over.
And especially after she saw what they're doing to the other deviants too. I think there's a line early in this issue where she basically says it's over once, thanks to me seeing this, you've got no shot.
Uh-huh.
Well, they had something before.
Yeah,
a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got no shot now. We're finished, or I can't remember the line, but it was something. It was probably
Crow's a simp.
It was right.
Crow is a simp. That's all there is to it. There's Carcass, my boy.
Yeah.
Sprite. Sprite's a digit.
Yeah.
I love that.
Right.
That's one. I love that Celestial.
Yeah.
Dude,
I don't know what that crap is on top of his head, but
it's just amazing, badass looking celestial. Oh, it's Spike a hit in the butt.
And then he's spanking Spike earlier or later.
Oh, that's is that the next one? Next
I
issue?
think it's the next issue.
Next
issue
right,
10 or 11.
Yeah, so that's probably in 10. Yep.
Oh, you got the this is the you got the single issues. I just did the collected edition of the Alex Ross. I mean, sorry, the Jack Kirby run. Oh, no, you go back.
Well, I gotta go start from the. I gotta go start from the. Yeah.
Okay, no, worth it.
Yeah.
Dude, look at that cover. The fingers and like the fact you could stomp someone just with the tips of those fingers. Those flat tips. Like dude, someone's about to die.
You feel the water dripping off the. You can see the water dripping off. Yep.
Yes,
that's one of my favorite covers.
Yep.
That's one. I mean, it's just pretty simple stuff. A hand and the deviants are
And then the city that died twice.
Remember they had Atlantis and Lemuria in a fight years later in some of the Marvel annuals. So I guess that's the same creation. Yeah, Kirby's creation that is Lemuria, or how did that work? What's the history of that, Clobby?
What?
Lemuria, the Deviants Underwater City. Was that always? That's always been Kirby's creation then, in Marvel.
No, Lemuria is isn't an old. Hey, Mr. Tickle Trunk, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Narayan Max Mandabear, what's up?
Hey, Mr. Tickle Trunk.
I mean, it's just sort of like him doing same as he has a version of Olympus.
Yeah.
That's the city of Lemuria is from what? Oh God, I forget what it's from now. You got me on the spot. I can't remember what it's from, but Kirby didn't create it.
Kirby but he put the Deviants there. Yeah,
he put the Deviants there. That's right. That's right.
But I remember reading about those stories, back in the 80s and 90s, and never knew that was, not knowing, the Eternals at all and their relationship to them. So
yeah. Again, and there's another reason why I think that it was just kind of curious that they ended up being sort of absorbed into the Marvel universe, like in the Thor comic and all that stuff, for a reason that we're coming up on a character that I really liked. Hey, Monkey Jeebus, are Anna's people? Lemurians are Anna's people, as in Anna, that Star Wars girl, or what?
I'm not sure. Yep.
I'm not sure who you mean.
Don't mind me. I'm getting toxic over this art. I actually got lost in the sum of things.
Mother,
tell the children not to walk my way.
The Reject, handsome, homicidal, a tower of hatred in search of someone he's never known. Mother. I'm thinking of the Doors song right now, but
I was thinking Danzig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Oh, Jesus. That's incredible.
Serious mangasms and
Steve Mitchell.
So there's a 1 in a million chance we'll get this tomorrow.
Steve Mitchell. Take it easy, buddy. Have a good night, bro.
Good night, Steve Mitchell.
And if you want to find hell with me, I can see a celestial.
Yes, everyone, to answer your question, we will be murdering Nick after the stream for singing. Sorry, Nick. It's been nice knowing you, pal.
All right, well, it's been good.
You deserve to die.
It's been good. It's been good.
If we're up to me, you could live, but they've all voted.
All right. Well, cowbunga it is then.
Oh, God. Yep.
That's gorgeous.
What if the Celestials or just happen to be giants, but they look like us, and they're all like, they just go to planets because they're bored, and they like to screw around with them and freak people out by making these. These are robots, right? They're really they're our size, but they just make these big robots to go because they're so bored. They just go to other planets and like to screw around. It's sort of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when he talks about he got a ride from a what do they call him a teaser or whatever they call them. People. There are these rich kids that have nothing to do. They go around the galaxy to find planets, but to find land near some poor, unsuspecting school who no one's going to believe and start up and down going beep beep noises. And they goes, Brother Childish, really?
I wonder what celestial-sized pizza would be like. Like that would be like I could
Really
be in
big,
a
yeah.
blank. I could be in a blanket of pepperoni. Like one pepperoni piece would be like my entire bed. Like that'd be my entire bedspread. I'd just be living in the grease of the pepperoni. Like, man, that's gonna be very busy eating for a celestial. I don't know if they can eat, but they could. Just saying.
Yeah.
Imagine a deep dish pizza. God.
Oh, dude, with the thick sauce too, and that and the melting cheese getting everywhere, and that buttery crust. Oh man, a celestial equivalent of a deep dish. Oh,
Monkey
I could live
Jeebus,
in it.
I absolutely agree with that. They're different from them as well. But remember, Kirby had not only he had 5 years to work with the New Gods in the Fourth World. He had 5 different titles to stretch them out into. Kirby had 19 issues and 20. But that said, yes, I mean New Gods, yeah, of course. I mean you have Darkseid and Orion and all these other characters and New Genesis. And even though Eternals does bear some resemblances to it in some ways, Kirby was never given the full time with it, and he's kind of I'm definitely with you that New Gods is better. I don't think people disagree with that.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, definitely agree with that.
In terms of story, I think he did some of his finest art on Eternals, as we're seeing here tonight.
Yeah, the art is brilliant, but like he had more time to flesh out the New Gods, and it's tough to. I mean, he's so creative too. That's what I was going to say before. And people think I'm just an artist, but he's really a creator and a writer too. So it's all those the Fantastic Four run. He created the Silver Surfer, and of course I came back to the Stan versus Kirby, but it's one thing to be, writers have fantastic, great imagination too, but then he's putting this down on the page, and he's also creating a lot of things as he's going, and here he's doing it all together. So it's amazing stuff.
Always felt for the Deviants, Kirby succeeded in setting them up as villains initially, then slowly unpacking their culture and making you reconsider your perception of their malevolence. That is so true, Sean. That is an excellent point. Thank you. And he did it so well. He really did. $5 super chat from Mr. Tickle Trunk. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, sir. He says the ship hung there in the sky exactly the same way that bricks don't.
Yeah.
I can't say it as well as
Douglas Adams.
Yes, Douglas Adams wrote it, but I was trying to remember the guy who did
on the BBC show.
The voice of the book. But anyway, yes. So
here's a legendary moment.
Yeah. Gratifying for you, opportune for me. I'm like that ain't no, that's not going to be in the movie.
No,
yeah, and he says opportune for me, right?
Right.
What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, but he won't. The only reason why he won't spank Spike in the movie is because Spike's a girl.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yes, Mr. Tickle Trunk for 5 again. Thank you so much. The trick to learning how to fly is throwing yourself at the ground and missing. That's from the Life the No, let's see. That's either from Life the Universe and Everything, or is it from So Long and Thanks for All the Fish? It's definitely Douglas Adams. Thank you so much, Mr. Trickle Trunk. I love Douglas Adams.
It's a great quote. Yeah.
Now, Stephen Fry read it in that terrible American movie. I love Stephen Fry. I love some of the actors, but I really hate that terrible American movie. I'm forgetting the name of the guy who did it for the Only One That Matters, the BBC version, which was a short miniseries. And, of course, there was I think he did the same guy did it for the radio show / albums. But, yeah, I hate the movie. Let's see here.
Here's where Crow's getting really soft.
But thank you so much, Mr. Tickle Trunk. Appreciate you. And Stephen Fry is a genius, though. I do love him.
Yeah.
When are we're gonna review Devil Dinosaur next, guys? Just ready.
Perhaps so, Thena. Perhaps when I reach for your approval, I find these things you speak of. It's like he's really trying hard there. Yep.
Man, you got to read the annual. The annual
I'll have to get to the
was probably my favorite issue.
Yeah, I love the annual. I'm gonna have to recall. I would say it's my favorite, but it is a damn fine issue. It is a great fine issue.
Peter Jones, that's it. Thank you. Because I was thinking that I always get it confused with Simon Jones, who played Dent off the Dent.
I love I love the ending part. The Russians are coming.
Yeah, back then in the 70s too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
How fitting for today.
This was great. That was where the shit was it? She just gets she gets them together. That's when she just gets together with puts them together, Carcass and the Reject.
Yep. That was a really good episode. Yeah, this is a good issue here.
Now, somewhere in here, they in the one I got off of Comicology, they put the annual in the middle. Did they do that, or did they just have it at the
No,
end?
these are all just the separate issues. Yeah, so the annual probably is supposed to come after issue 12, I'm assuming, right?
Yes, it was after 12 because I got the
12.
collected digital edition. I got the collected digital. They had it after 12. Oh, there's Zurist. Yeah, the Russians are coming.
Do you think Jack did the lettering here, or would that been the letterer?
That's Royer.
Cool
Mike Royer did this. Now,
something like that, though, where it's like a splash page.
Yeah, he does that kind of stuff. I think Jack would probably wrote that, the font or whatever. I think that's probably Jack. But as far as the lettering and everything.
Yeah, it's just something cool like that. I was just wondering. Yeah.
Stan Lee presents nothing because he wasn't there. I remember when I created the Eternals. No, I didn't.
Stan described this page.
I remember when I created Jack Kirby and said, "Go create stuff." I remember when I creating things.
I remember creating things.
Got seeing this live action. You almost don't need it live action though. It's animated in your mind.
Hey,
I guess.
I would look. You know what? I wish they would make an animated adaptation and go all out with the animation.
With
this imagine it looked just like Kirby. I mean, but pay the Kirby family, you dickheads, if you do it, and they never will do it. And just adapt this straight up. And you could get, I'd say, call Roy Thomas and ask him to write something of a closure ending to this. But adapt what was there, because after 19, there's a slight bit of closure at the end of 19. But
did Kirby know it was getting canceled, or did it just the axe was cut?
He knew. They know a couple of months in advance usually, they know. Because he ended it when, in other words, if it didn't drop on a cliffhanger, although a lot of comic books, like some TV shows,
they get the axe,
dumped out on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
But eventually he knew.
Briscoe counted, right? Yep.
That's true, Matthew Pounder. That is, as no truer words have ever been spoken, sir.
Kirby created Stan Lee.
He sure did.
God damn. I want to add something to this art. This is right around the time when I started to realize, okay, there are far more Eternals than just the core characters that are put in front of our own eyes. There are so many of them. It's almost like a universe in itself.
Yep, that's right. An Olympia.
Yeah.
That's what, again, like I keep saying, there's an Olympia, but there's a Marvel Olympus. There's an Asgard and all these other places. So Roy probably had to do some I'm going to read those, some acrobatics, because it just seemed like Jack would have, if he had his druthers, didn't really want them to be. And in fact, that Hulk story tells me he really was trying to make it look like their make believe, because they mentioned Marvel Comics characters when they were a Marvel Comics character. They call him a Marvel Comics character in the comic, meaning the Hulk.
Yeah. And this is where the samurai is introduced, and Marvel's I know who it is. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I would like this. He's an actor who plays. Yeah, he's an
Kingo.
actor who plays. Yeah, Kingo, samurai characters, some whatever, but he's an Eternal.
Yeah, it's like. He says, he's really good at sword play, or because he was in Japan, right? Yeah.
Hey, Loki, what's up, brother? Good to see you, bro.
Loki.
Had a fantastic time last night talking World's Finest, buddy. Really appreciate it. It's always good to see you, man. The Cersei thing with this guy gets me. I think it's funny. It's just, it's just crazy. Look how fantastically hot she is,
dude.
Like Professor McDork.
I know that's the thing. She was attracted to, as Raquel would say, the nerd. She was one of those girls where she is she's the 10 out of 10. He's just the average Joe Schmo. So, but no, so it was just one of those situations where
that's the situation where the 1 in a million chance came true.
yeah, he was the 1 in a million, and yet he's so shocked by it that he's just like he still can't take it all in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nerds.
Now that I said that, I'm getting the kick in the shin from Raquel.
Oh,
Your agonizer, please.
Your agonizer, please. Sorry, Raquel.
No, she is. Well, look at her though, Cersei. She is
Right.
like all about him, and he's just like, I don't know how to. It's because he's not used to being with a lady of that magnitude. Because she's got the powers, and he's just Joe Schmo in his
She
own.
doesn't give a crap that the world's about to be destroyed. She just wants to party. That's what's funny about
You're right. That's why she's one of my favorite characters in this Kirby Roy. I'm like, dude, she kind of reminds you of Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles. She's the life of the party.
She don't give a shit if the universe is going to blow up.
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, look at it.
It'd be so cool if they had models of these Celestials. God.
Oh, dude,
No,
imagine
I
there's
think-
hot toys of these.
I
Kirby
can
side.
picture Brightest
Yeah.
Day building some of
'Cause
these,
the-
Ironcaster building these. Yeah.
Yeah, the toys that they do have for the movie are horrible. Now, wait a minute. Hungry Boy, I think Angelina Jolie is playing Thena.
She is.
She's Thena.
So, yeah, I
And
forgot the
Gemma
name.
Chan is Cersei.
Yeah, Gemma Chan is Cersei, who's a cutie, I guess. But
Well, she's got to have a
That's
good
it.
personality. We'll
Yeah,
see.
I don't know if she's gonna match the personality. And once again, a big aspect is, and the personality is part of the spirit of the character. And I don't see Gamma Chan because I looked at clips of her online, and once again, clips. Obviously, clips don't define the entire judgment of an actress. But I watched her, I'm like, I don't see her as Cersei. I don't see a fit. I mean, hopefully, maybe I'm wrong. I'll say she's the exception. But I don't see it, like, at all. I don't see it. After watching clips of her, I don't see it.
And this was a fun reveal when they had the Russians who were actually Eternals trying to stop, nuclear war, keep the world at peace. That was
Yep.
a nice reveal there.
Yep.
yeah,
Great reveal
Phantom
here.
Outsider says this goes back to a. Hang on a second here. I thought I was going to sneeze. I'm still might.
Bless you.
Oh, dude, I
Unless you're
hate
in
that.
Yeah.
I hate that when I'm about to sneeze and I don't. It's just like, really, this is such a waste of time. Don't lead me on and then give me nothing. Just get it over with so I can move on. It's the biggest waste of time. Just give me the sneeze already.
The sneeze. Yeah.
Okay, Hungry Boy, and I just thought you. I thought I misunderstood. I thought you were under the impression that Cersei is the opposite of Jolie. That's so. Never mind. I got you, bro. It's good. This goes back to a Kirby story where Jack used a North mythology book for the Tales of Asgard and was asked why. Well, why I think it means what happens when you run out of the stories. And Jack said, "Then we'll have to make new gods," and he did. For the last couple of years of his last couple of years at Marvel, Kirby was really getting sick of them not paying him well, not getting a cut of all the things he'd helped create and created and all this stuff. And so he told the story later. He started holding back some of his better ideas, especially when he was working on Thor, and knowing that when he would pick up shop and go to DC, which was going to happen eventually, he probably thought that, and he brought a lot of those over to New Gods if he'd stayed on Thor, a lot of the things that happened in New Gods in different ways, of course, would have happened in Thor.
And that's why New Gods is so good, right?
It's amazing, and that's why Thor, again, was still a good book after that. But
yeah.
Oh, yeah, I realize the Eternals. One of the bigger differences between the New Gods, the Eternals are. I'm gonna have a dad joke here. They're a lot more down to earth than the New Gods are. They're a lot more down to earth. They definitely are.
I agree with that.
Yeah, because they're on. I see what you did there.
Yeah. I love. Go back to that cover for a second.
Right. Let's just admire it.
I love the colors on this cover right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I when I looked at this cover for the first time, and the first thing I thought in my head was, I don't see this concept being pulled off well for a movie. And then also I look at the bottom, like, oh, hey, there's Ajax. Where have you been for the last umpteenth issue?
Yeah.
You're there, and then you were.
Ajax is back. Yep.
Wait, welcome back, sir. That's the first thing that came to my mind is how does this get pulled off in the movie? And especially once again, I know it's hard because we're comics and movies, but it's just one of those things because now that I'm reading this, and it got to a point where I was like immersed in the book, I can't help but think, where's the translation to the movie? I can't help but think of it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's when you're reading it now that you know that you're thinking that the whole time.
Yep,
Great cover.
Oh,
Okay.
fantastic.
Now, Matthew Pounder, we said you hadn't read the annual. We're going to talk about the annual in a bit but I'll definitely give you the spoiler alert if you want. There's Carcass, my buddy. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's falling down because of the fight from the previous issue from the
Keely
reject.
Chow. Roll Tide, Keely Chow.
Hey, Keely Chow.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the one? Yeah, here's the what you're talking about.
Keely
the same.
Chow. Go on.
He's a male to be reckoned with. Such shoulders, such arms. How comforting they could be.
This was pretty silly.
This is another moment that would not happen in today's modern world, whether in any media, because the ladies are like all about the reject. The irony of that, the ladies are all about the reject. Like I love that sentence. Like
and the monster is actually the really kind soul, and then she's saying about the reject, have a care lest they cause you grief. He is not the plaything you think him to be. Take him to be, yeah. But it's really the monster. The monster is the got the real spirit that you should be attracted to. But yeah, it's
yep, he'll kill you for complimenting him like that.
Right? It's because you're so drenched and programmed into just like think everything bad, right. Everything violence, everything death, kill, murder, and so it's kind of like it's like when you're like, hold on, you like things like to him, that's like speaking another language. It's like trying to speak French to someone who only speaks English. Like it's like what?
I love that all the Eternals can fly, all of them.
Yeah. All of the Eternals
you can
fly,
levitate,
yes.
Quote, fly. They don't have, unlike the Inhumans or something, with each different powers.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some differences, of course, like, Makari's, but they can all fly. It's like walking to them.
That's very cool, yep.
Or as they continue, and again, this Kirby thinking outside the box, because it continually calls it levitating and levitating. He purposely avoids calling it flying, if you notice that.
Yes, you're
levitating the whole time.
Yes, I was waiting to see if there's when I was reading this. I'm like, oh, they're gonna get to a point where they're just gonna say, "Fine, nope." They're just gonna stick with levitation. Even when I finished the book, I noticed how like, they're sticking with levitation. All right, cowabunga it is, bro.
Right.
This is a great page and a great quote.
Yeah,
yeah. He said,
I can't see it that
I may yet become a philosopher of note, and you, master killer, may inherit the balconies and rose gardens of fair young maidens. Ease your battle stance. The shadows hide nothing but cool breezes. There are no enemies in paradise. So it's such a that doesn't normally you'd flip those word balloons, right? If you weren't if you just put this page on, you say which word balloon goes with which character. So you're right. Yeah.
I would think that perspective wise, you're right, Mark. I would think that would fit with the other the whole opposite switch. You're right.
Yeah, you wouldn't think Carcass would, that's not, the line. That's going to be the lines from the handsome guy, right? That looks like a prince or, King Arthur type.
Yeah, and he's just, I don't like girls. I just like killing people.
Yeah, kill.
Yes. And Ajax says, my lord, something I don't understand, Professor. What's that, my son? Do I really look like Selma Hayek?
Yeah. Like, okay, here's the thing about Salma Hayek. Obviously, we know she's got some legacy. She's got some history.
Here's
the thing.
Else there next. Sorry.
I get what you're saying, but here's the thing, though, and I'm gonna be where objectivity comes into place. She's not someone who's historically known for like being the main lead. She's like a big, strong supporting character or a co-dual lead. she's not someone who's known for being someone who carries the ship. She's not leading the Titanic. And like obviously Angelina Jolie did that 1 point 20 years ago with movies like Mr. and Mrs. Smith and the Tomb Raider flicks. I see her like, and I'm just once again Salma Hayek. I'm like, I don't feel like she's got, obviously there's little of Ajax and these Kirby issues, but I don't see that personality intertwining, because since those movies of the mid 2000s with Angelina Jolie, just those pieces don't click together. Even if Angelina Jolie were somehow a man, it still doesn't click.
You don't have the annual, by the way?
I do have the annual, yeah. Oh,
Okay.
yeah. I'm going out of order.
No,
oh my
you don't
God.
have to do it yet. If you can get it when you
Yeah,
can.
no, I got it. No, I got the annual.
Sorry
right
about
here.
that, Nick. Go
I
ahead.
got everything. Yep.
No. Go. I want to look at the annual too. Hey, I'm being a fan and an observer at the same time. So, and I see Hungry Boy here say, "I'll be ruthless." Salma is in the Eternals to get the hetero guys, and to say, "Oh no, totally." And that's why even I empathize with her situation, because I know someone even who is talented like her was put in there most likely for the wrong reasons, and that's unfair to her, even in her defense. And she's not going to admit that unless, the movie severely bombs and she says so 5 years down the line. We don't know how that played out with the sequel trilogy. They didn't admit all the wrongdoings until several years till the movie had been done and wrapped up. And all of a sudden, oh, I was casted for wrong reasons. It was like, oh yeah, well, we already knew that like half a decade ago. And history might play out with this, but that all depends on how this movie plays out. Because for all we know, especially even though it's getting a rotten score on RT, people will still see this. It's whether it holds legs second, third, fourth weekend, and so on and so forth. It's going to be really interesting to see, because this movie is the real test of how much do normies follow the critics. This movie it's almost like a necessary evil to see how much do normies value the idea of critics.
Yep. No, this is I think this is my favorite one.
This is your favorite issue? Yep.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, and the reviews haven't. We keep mentioning the movie, but I guess the reviews have been pretty bad too.
We'll see
of the movie. Yep.
Yeah. Again, this story, for those who don't know, this is takes place after 12, I think, number 12, whatever. I think this old enemy of Azurus, called Zachar or something, I forget his name now. He is using a machine. Yeah, Zathras. He's using a machine to he's trying to cause trouble in New York. I forget the exact reason. And using a machine it's pretty dumb, really. The plot's dumb, and he's bringing, there he is right there. He's bringing killers from all over the past into New York. They could only stay for a short time before they're sent back, or they end up snapping back to their time. And it's pretty goofy when Zurus finds out about him, and he sends Thena, the reject, and Carcass, whom Thena is able to help Carcass disguise to look like a human. And they go to this hotel in New York, and they're trying to find him. And
how's he fit in the room?
They meet Jack the Ripper, and it was that was kind of the way they handled Jack the Ripper and some of the other killers. It was silly, but I don't care. The characterization and the interaction between the three of them, especially the reject, actually all of them, but especially Carcass and the reject and Carcass and this and other people and stuff. And again, he's in this. If you want to, you can show a little bit.
Yeah, but I was gonna say this is a pretty brave landlady. She's going to the villain, Mr. Zachary, and said it's time to collect the rent. Super villains pay the rent, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he does.
Yep.
Again,
he's a nice guy. Yeah.
Yep. He's a weirdo.
To her, yeah.
Zathras. It was Zach or someone. Well, I just read it. I can't remember his damn name.
Zachary.
But yeah, well, Zachary. That's the name he gave her. But it's something to play on Zach or something
else.
Rather.
Okay,
yeah.
It is okay.
Yeah. Okay, buddy.
Okay, Zach. So, it says Zach, I guess.
Right? There's Eric K.
Right. He's bringing crap from the past that cause trouble. He's trying to scare people in New York, whatever. And there they are. There's Reject and that guy's carcass. Doesn't he look like a guy named Ben Grimm, sort of?
Oh, here we go. The blended. I love these scenes here. I love these scenes here. And usually, like, it takes a lot more to sell me on, like, basic talking points, but it's the fact that these two, one is a guy who has to adapt to language and environmental surroundings. The other guy, he's already normally a hothead. He just needs to learn how to not Hulk out. And the contrast between the two and them having to survive in a hotel is great. This is a great comical moment, this comic, this particular issue, guys, in the chat. Please read this issue.
I like what Reject calls Carcass. You know, I can't say what was the other page. You call him, you doctored it. Let's say you doctored and diluted dinosaur.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. I'm just gonna call someone that you doctored and diluted dinosaur. It's so quotable.
Yeah, but again, this part it is pretty goofy that I think Reject fights Jack the Ripper.
Yes.
Jack the Ripper talks where he talks is pretty goofy, and he's got a sword. But I'm like, wait a minute, this guy is look at Jack the Ripper. He's about to kill this woman, and you know they say he saves her and stuff. Like this guy, Jack the Ripper, could not be a match for the Reject, who could kill. Like I mean, he's a deviant for one thing, and he kills all these. He kicked Carcass's ass pretty easy, but Jack the Ripper's giving him a fight, a little bit.
Yep.
Anyway, whips his ass, of course, then he gets turned back. But it's pretty. But it's the characterization later in this annual. There he goes. He ends up back getting sent back where he was. And if you go up a little bit, yeah, they know. See, everyone knows about Eternals now. So again, there's another thing. They're in New York. All this crap is going on. Yes, Kirk. Not only Kirk, Sheridan sort of defeated him as well.
That's true.
Jack the Ripper. Yeah. So they all know who Eternals are and stuff. So this is fine, which is fine. Again, where in the hell are all the superheroes?
Oh, I know, right? I remember reading this. I think to myself, okay, Daredevil, once again, Hell's Kitchen, Spider-Man, Queens. You got Avengers Tower, and you got obviously the X-Men. They're obviously at their mansion in the suburbs. Like it makes you think because these are some big world moments you got going on here. These are not just like your neighborhood robber who's robbing the store. One guy can handle it. Boom, it's done. Answers the police. These are world events that make headlines on the news. Outlets from other countries talk about it. And I laugh because it makes it come off as a little bit of like an indie book. Because of that, because it feels so self-contained and there's barely acknowledgement of the greater universe at hand. And obviously, go ahead.
No, I hear you. No, go ahead. Go.
You think, okay, where are all these people? You got the Fantastic Four at the Baxter Building. It's just like, where are all these heroes? Do they just say, okay, well, that's not my villain to deal with? Like, do they have that mentality? Like, because heroes are supposed to be heroes, and you see these things, and it's kind of antithetical to that. It's like, I get the idea of wanting to have the characters have their moments to shine under the sun, but it's just when you label the words in continuity, you can't help but have those thoughts running through your head when you're reading a book.
Go back a little bit if you would. I was going to show you who he was fighting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who pops up in there. Well,
I was just trying not to show every page. So,
no, I know. That's why I was gonna stop you on one. Look at the next one. Attila the Hun.
Attila the Hun, yep. This one is stronger than he seems. Yep.
Then if you go up a little bit, what I really loved about the issue, though, other than the interaction between them all, now they see Carcass because his illusion is gone.
I like this page here. You got Carcass, who just looks Neanderthalish.
Yeah.
I feel like this is an underrated page. At least as far as Kirby page, this is a great one because you see the panic. You see everyone's got like oh no, what do I do? And everyone's got a different thing to say about how this situation should have been handled. and Carcass just towers above them all like he's the
And he's a good
Undertaker
guy.
and then some. And he doesn't
I'm
have
not here
bad
to
intentions.
cause you harm. Yeah.
It's like, guys, I'm not trying
I'm a
to
good
do
guy.
harm. Just listen to me. Just listen to me. Oh, I love this page.
Is that a young James T. Kirk
I do
there
too.
with the gold shirt?
Yes, they brought him from the future by accident.
Yeah.
So Zach Dude or whatever finally brings back this guy from the past who, you know, is one of apparently one of the baddest, most powerful, unstoppable killers ever. And he's again extraordinarily powerful, more than a match for all of them. But you'll see if you go up a little.
Yeah.
Oh God, Phantom Outsider says, see, all the other heroes were attending a SHIELD mandated diversity training symposium at CLOBBERIN.
Oh shit.
You know, that's funny because it actually sounds like what would be in today's books. Like,
Oh, my
we need
God.
to attend a sensitivity class. Oh, well, who's it? Oh, the Eternals will take care of it. Who are the Eternals? Oh, they'll figure it out. They'll handle it while we handle the sensitivity issues.
Jesus. Oh my God, love it. So I like this guy, whoever this dude is. Again, I forgot. I just read it today. I can't remember the friggin' dude's name that he brings back to fight. You'll see him in a second. If you
It was I'm not
guy-
forgetting now too. Zaka.
that's Zach. I'm talking about the guy he brings back to fight.
Oh, the guy he brings back to fight. Okay.
Zach is an idiot. What a dumb idea! Just bringing back killers from, I don't know, dinosaurs maybe, but. Oh yeah, here you go. So again, they're being pretty heroic. They're even the rejects being heroic. Oh yeah, two to that.
There we go.
There he is.
Okay.
That is a big one pager.
That's awesome. Yep.
Yeah, two to next. I like this crazy dude here. And she basically, he has the power of a god. He's just extraordinarily powerful and stuff. They don't have much of a chance against him. So she gets him to agree to fight him, to go to a private place where there are no humans to get injured. And Reject knows he can't beat him. He thinks he's going to get killed. Who gets to fight him? Carcass is willing to fight him. But Reject ends up fighting. He's going to fight him. And as you can see, they fight.
And I said, and look here, they let us levitate to the task which lies ahead.
Yep, let us levitate.
Right. Levitate, yep.
You got this dude. Just look how strong he is.
Oh, I know,
Again,
right?
And these bystanders on the street are acting like they've never seen this kind of crap. They're in
I know, right? That's the funny part.
They're in Marble,
it's
New
like
York.
This is new to them.
Yeah. And and this guy apparently goes way back. I mean, Zurus even thinks he's they know they don't have a chance against him.
Oh man. And see, now because once again this brings it back to the movies, you see it when in the movie level they've dealt with the Battle of New York with Loki, they dealt with the dropping city with Ultron, they dealt with the snap with Thanos. They can't act like they've never seen a battle before. Like what wows a general city of people anymore, because they really raise the standard. It makes you think with Eternals, they almost in a way put themselves in a corner with how they're gonna deal with a conflict that has actual stakes because of all the bars that have been raised thus far.
I don't know. We'll figure it out at some point.
Well, we'll get there.
By the way, Thena is levitating them. They're not Eternals. They can't fly.
Yep. Yep.
So see how strong the dude is? They think they're going to be dead. And then turns out before he's about to pretty much whack them, poof. Because they already learned that these people aren't staying back in time for a long period of time. It wears off. And she just stalled him because the guy would have killed their asses. But again, the best thing about this issue, I thought, was, again, we never get to see them again together, is that their interaction. And I would have liked to see more issues with Thena and those two.
Yeah, I haven't read that issue yet, but it seemed like a pretty fun, from what I've read. It's a good pairing. It's a good creation.
Yeah.
I like these issues a lot. Because
Yeah.
even though even so it's not the actual Hulk Hogan, but it kind of lets you know, okay, yes, these characters are directly involved in this universe, even though there's a lack of response to all the world events going on. But it kind of lets you know, okay, they're tied into a picture, so it makes it feel more involved. And when you're a Marvel Comics reader, it makes you feel that much more. Okay, this is why this book matters. Like as far as a Marvel Comics book and not just an Eternals comic book.
Well, yes, and this is ridiculous. They're at MIT.
Look at that,
And
man!
these
Look at the dudes.
These two kids create a Hulk robot. You know why they create the stupid Hulk robot? Because they thought it would be fun to have the Hulk robot go onto the field, the football field, on the game. Because they said all the players and everyone out there, they're all Hulk fans too, and we thought it would really inspire them to want to play and win the football game.
Yep.
That's why they create the stupid robot.
God, imagine all the jobs I could get for being able to create a robot like that, right?
I mean, Jack, come on. And then
my god,
their professor tells them, you better dismantle this thing, you stupid kids, because you're really idiots. You
Jack
can create this. So, and then later it gets, we don't really exactly, we're never told why.
Well, Jack may have had a few too many drinks the night he created this issue.
I don't know, but he might have, because
at least writing wise,
somehow, because of with the Unimind, they're all coming out of the Unimind. Somehow, cosmic radiation just gets into it. We don't know why, and it goes on a Hulk rampage. And that's it.
Like, I'm good with the fake Hulk concept. I like the idea of it. But it's just the fact that two random kids at the school and the teacher
That's
or
probably
professor.
the worst part of it.
Yeah, that's what they say here. Our purpose was to march the Hulk down the field with the school band. We needed a mascot for the All-Star game, so we decided to build one. Well, that's pretty damn impressive. I give him an A.
Fan. I remember the team is a Hulk fan. What?
Yeah.
That means they read the comic? I want to know what he's talking about.
Yeah, right? Because
Yeah.
last time I checked that, though, the Hulk is not a beloved character. This is what
in real life,
Saturday morning cartoon is like the ever-loving Hulk. Hulk.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're making it sound like when they're fans, if that's 616 Marvel Universe, for example, everyone knows about the Hulk and his rampages. And, that's one thing. But later they even mentioned that they talk about Marvel Comics character. So I'm like, wait a minute. So that they base this creation on the comic book? Or is there a real, in other words, but I've seen other than S.H.I.E.L.D. at this point, and that one, when that image of the thing that Cersei put on the guy's head, this doesn't feel like it's in the Marvel Universe at all. If you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the only one that thinks that.
No, I can get
agree.
what you're getting at. I can see why you would say that. Because even though for me it felt more involved in the Marvel Universe, I can see where you're coming from on that.
Yeah, I mean, again, later they were integrated into the Marvel Universe by Roy Thomas, and they were just there. Like Sean said earlier, they were in they had that Thor run where he dealt with some again, and because there's another character we're going to get to that I really liked in here that's going to bolster that a little bit. And then, Cersei was in the Avengers. You said Gilgamesh was whatever. So, yeah.
I think wasn't that when Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman went to the Avengers. Wasn't there a pairing? It was
right.
Phantom. No, it was Invisible Woman, and Mr. Fantastic and Gilgamesh were like the only three Avengers. I think around issue number 300, something like that. Well, Phantom will tell us. Yep.
No, the Hulk is beloved. You obviously want Hulk Rampage to get your school because to be cruel. Be cruel to your school. You may never have another.
I want the fake Hulk to do my grass. That's what Eric is saying. Yeah. I want a fake Hulk to do stuff for me. Imagine all the stuff we could get done. Yeah.
D-Bud, think of the liability insurance for a fake Hulk. And once again,
fake Hulk.
And once again, making certain colors that I'm not fond of look cool. Here we go again with the whole Unimind concept.
Right here, yeah.
I gotta give credit to it. Oh, God, I love the yellow. I'm in love with the yellow. Not just the idea, but just looking at it. Oh, the Unimind, dude. Now, that is a hell of a concept, the Unimind. I'm just trying to imagine this in
And
cinematic format.
what alien species didn't the Kree have was it a Unimind or was it the
No, they had this Supreme Intelligence.
Supreme Intelligence? Okay.
Supremor. Yeah, the Unimind's all Kirby. Actually, Supreme Intelligence was Kirby as well.
Kirby too, right?
Yeah, I mean, they always talk about, the Kree Captain Marvel, for example, was created by, I forget a couple of, it was a so-called Stan and a couple other people. Kirby laid the groundwork for the Skrulls, the Kree, all those things before,
I love how Hulk, he all he does is grunt. I know that's the gist of what he does, but I feel like it's more so there, because at least seldomly he would say something like Hulk smash. You didn't even get that here.
I wonder if the TV show Hulk was on at the time, and I wonder if Jack said, "Well, could I use the Hulk? We could just make him some kind of like this." And he said, and they said, "Well, yeah, the TV show's on. We like pushing the show. One more comic book with the Hulk on the cover. I wouldn't be, it was on about 2 or 3 years. They used to do crap like that. Could be just a hypothesis."
No, I can see where you're coming from on that, Clobby. I can.
You never know. Remember when they used to put on their Marvel's TV sensation, the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah.
God, isn't that crazy to think at one point in time he was the
show.
TV sensation?
But remember, everyone, this Hulk monster, this robot, somehow got infested with cosmic radiation. So it's no joke. Eternals can barely even touch it because it has cosmic power. The power cosmic.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can't say it exactly. Dr. David Banner.
Oh yeah, I remember because for Bruce Banner, they said his name. They thought Bruce sounded too gay or something like that.
They did.
So they went with David Banner. It's just like what? And like all these normies thought that David Banner was in. It's like no, it's Bruce Banner, dude.
Yeah, it was so stupid, but that is why they did that. Instead of it was David, it was still wasn't he still David Bruce Banner instead of Robert Bruce Banner?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the original comics, in the first issue, so they called him Bob Banner for a short time, and then changed it to Bruce. And for some reason, it was just I don't know, it was ridiculous. But Makari didn't get enough to do in these issues either.
Yeah,
they fixed that because now Makari is a woman and is deaf. I know it's my fault. We keep going back to the movies. We're going to get away from the movie, I promise.
Your agonizer, please.
I'd say Makari is not only a woman but deaf. Eternals are perfect beings created by space gods that are immortal. Why? How can you be deaf? And the character was not deaf in the comic, so it's in the real comics, so it's bullshit.
Because the only way you can
be deaf in the movie, or
in the movie, the character is a deaf female, and they're bragging how they've got the first deaf superhero.
That's so dishonest to deaf people because they're afraid, they're pretending Daredevil doesn't exist, who lives with an actual handicap on day-to-day life, being blind. So that already is disrespectful to handicapped people right off the bat.
Ironic.
So and now you're taking this character who Makari, it's like, why was it so? It's already bad out there trying to run with the Eternals. It's like they wanted to run with the Eternals in Jack Kirby's name and then say, okay, we're going to take these characters or we'll put our fingerprints all over them and make them our own. But we want all the namesakes.
I think the actress is deaf in real life, probably, right?
I don't know if the actress is deaf in real life.
I think she might be, yeah.
Well, there's no reason to do that to the character.
No, I'm just saying that's what what they do. Yeah,
right, yeah. Well, they probably. I've heard jokes made about it, but I think they're actually idiots who've complained about Charlie Cox playing Daredevil, a sighted man playing a blind character. Well, I don't think it'll work any other way. I mean, you can have they may have blind actors, but you're asking a blind man to move around like Daredevil in real life.
Because Daredevil can basically see with his radar sense.
Right, so. His character can pretty much see without seeing because of his radar sense. So, but there have been idiots like that. I mean,
of course there is, and that's insanely messed up because you're taking these characters out just because they're less on saying. And this is obviously an era that's been pushed for the last almost half a decade where this whole seeing yourselves and characters like, dude, I came from the Michael Jordan era where everyone and their mother loved Michael Jordan. And I look, sound, act nothing like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, so on and so forth, that 90s Chicago Bulls. And we love them for who they were. And now all of a sudden we gotta look like these guys in order to like enjoy them is absolutely asinine and a very limited mindset of mentality. Like, I want to look up to whoever's got a good content of character traits, regardless of what they look like.
This was my fault, by the way. I'm not blaming Nick this time. It's always my fault, really. I hear you. This, I thought it was in this issue, but I don't see it right there, where they mentioned Marvel Comics. Like, they were at a news conference or something.
Well, here's the news conference here. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Tickle Truck. Yeah, Shang-Chi exists because of Bruce Lee.
Right.
And growing up, me and my brothers were always obsessed with Bruce Lee. We didn't say, oh, no, Bruce Lee doesn't look like us. How are we going to like him?
It was somewhere up in here, but I can't really remember. Oh, well.
I guess they're explaining who the Eternals are. Yep. So they're saying.
Well, they know who the Eternals. Yeah.
But they're saying
about who the Hulk is.
We have secrets. The ages have denied you. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's a bit in there where they're talking about the Hulk like he's like Marvel Comics character, which he is. But I mean, you know what I mean. Not part of that universe. It may be farther along there, but no biggie. We don't have to find that. We're getting close to the end anyway. So if you want to jump ahead a little bit, because do we spoiler the ending? What little ending there is, or do we just go ahead and
get to the last 3 issues? Well, it gets to a character who is in the movie, who is notable. So we should talk about those 3 issues.
Well, there's only 3 issues left.
That's now I remember. Thank you, Nick. There is a character I want to talk about to drive.
I like this character. Even though he is only in these 3 issues and he was limited, I like this character.
I don't know if we're talking about the same one yet. So let me say it's not this one.
No,
not this issue.
Not this one.
One issue with the astronauts.
Ooh, we might be talking about different characters. You're right.
All right, let me see here.
18.
It might be 18. 18, I think. All right, the issue where Sprite goes. They're all still in the Unimind.
Druig, dude, not
Druig. I'm sorry. I think
it's okay.
This was before the Hulk issue. I'm sorry. Go back.
Yeah, the astronauts were before the Hulk issue. Yeah.
Okay. Damn me.
I think they were.
There it is. Oh, there
it
is. I think it was right after the Unimind, right before the Hulk.
So 14, okay. I think were the astronauts.
Yes, 14. Okay.
Yeah, you've read this comic.
I've read this comic before. It's my business if I read it before. What the hell are you talking about?
I think was this one? Or no, it's the issue before.
13.
Yeah, 13. Yeah.
Okay. Forgot it for some reason. All right, 13. You've read this comic before. You're not allowed to read it again. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. As they said on the old Planet of the Apes show, astronauts. Okay. The bit that I love this machine.
That was the machine. Yeah, look at that.
Oh,
we'll be done.
Look at it.
We'll
imagine if they gave
the ending.
Imagine if they gave out, they're doing the Ghostbusters Ecto 1 with popcorn. Imagine if they had this for the movie with popcorn in it.
Oh, I'd eat it.
It'd be the greatest movie ever made. All right, this is a ship that is a bomb that these 4 deviants have agreed to sacrifice their lives. They're going to fly it into a celestial to kill a celestial, which is pretty not a good idea to do. They think it's going to cause a backlash because it's for revenge. As I said earlier, it's chronicled in the early issues of this that at one point Celestials, the space gods, came back and when the deviants were controlling the earth and enslaving humans and all that stuff, and they bombed a bunch of it. They destroyed a bunch of the deviants. So this is payback time. I think they've agreed to try to kill a celestial with this big bomb. And everyone else, all the other Eternals are in the Unimind. So Spike, who's on Justice League satellite monitor duty, not really. He's in Olympia. He's there mining the store. And this is the issue, I think. There's Toad again.
Yeah, where he meets he releases.
Well, he goes to find this person called the Forgotten One, who is not allowed to participate anymore. But Spike decides there's no other Eternals, and there's no one powerful enough. So he finds this guy right here, who's been cast out by Zurus. Didn't he mention his father? He's Hercules.
Yeah, the will of Zurus keeps me here.
And I love the suit he gives him. So there's no other choice. So he just readily agrees to go stop the deviants from killing it. Because hell, it would be a bad idea if they could kill the Celestials. I love this outfit because it's amazing. He's Hercules. There's even a bit in the ship.
I thought this was Gilgamesh too, or no?
There's even a bit in the ship where in the writing, Jack cleverly says he quote a Herculean effort, but he's Gilgamesh, but he's Gilgamesh, I guess. I don't know.
But we're both, right?
I thought it was
I mean,
Hercules, but why do you say
that's I was gonna say I don't recall Gilgamesh being in this run.
I guess he became Gilgamesh later in the later run.
He was Gilgamesh is later on. Is the forgotten? That's what I thought. The forgotten one is Gilgamesh. Right?
I always thought it was going to begin. It's the first time I've read this in 40-something years. I love this right here.
All right. Here we
That's
go
gorgeous,
again.
yeah.
Just admiring, just endless admiration.
And they call this a space shuttle too, which is really cool. So that's the space shuttle design is just coming out. So even though it looks like a rocket with wings, but it's kind of they call like this shuttle is really cool. This bird can really fly well. They said, yep.
So
kind of like Moonraker and Dolly had braces.
The Celestials having none of it and switches everybody around to different ships.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Even the middle panel, small as it is, looks cool. Yeah, with all the black included, just even the inks around it, it makes you it looks like a spiritual thing. Like it reminds me of something like in The Simpsons, like with the X-Files episode where the aliens walk in and shout like, "Don't be afraid." You wouldn't understand, Chloe, but for anyone in the chat who's seen the Simpsons X-Files episode, they'll know. They'll know.
Let me see that one there. Oh, yeah, I hear you, man. You're right.
Great
I'm
panel,
not well up on that. But
D-Bud's gotta go.
Take it easy, D-Bud.
Good night,
D-Bud.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it. He was referred to as the forgotten one, not Gilgamesh till later. Van Musser said that Gilgamesh had both names, Heracles, and Gilgamesh. Okay. And there's even a bit where I'm trying to see if it's on that page or not. Anyway, it refers to him committing a Herculean effort.
Okay.
So did Jack say he's Hercules or did he say he's Gilgamesh? I know he was called Gilgamesh later, but not in this.
It's kind of left to the reader, maybe, right?
Yeah, the forgotten one. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was Hercules since this is not like the regular Marvel universe, but
Well, it's there's Mercury, right?
Yeah. Remember, Gilgamesh was the son of Zuras. Sound familiar? Yeah. Well, yeah, he was later, but not in this. He was Gilgamesh was not in the Kirby one unless that was him. They don't call him Gilgamesh. Anyway, I would love to have seen more of him. Again, if we'd gotten more, there you go, number 19. If we'd gotten more. Now, this stuff in these last two issues that they keep saying Eternals can't be killed, but they keep
these issues
you can be disintegrated, apparently.
Yeah, well, these last 2 to 3 issues, there was something around Druid and what's his face, the guy to the right. I'm already forgetting his name, but Druid is the main guy. The guy Druid is the guy on the left, but the guy on the right, he's basically a Maximus type. But Druid has a twisted mindset. I took a liking to Druid with these 3 issues. It's kind of like its own little self-contained arc within the big picture story because it really revolves around Druid and Icarus, these 3 issues. They're their own little mini-series story arc right here. And I just think, man, I would like to have seen more with Druid I don't know if he ended up appearing in later comics, but it kind of felt like he was killed, if not written off for a long time at the very least, because obviously, he had plans of his own, and he wanted to make sure Icarus was not in the way of said plans.
Yeah. There's an earlier issue about where Icarus kills somebody, so sometimes we have to kill, and you just do it.
Yes.
Well, that comes back here a little bit.
Oh, yeah. That was 2 or 3 issues. I think it was 16 or 17 when Icarus said that. And here he is. This is a cup. Well, I said that, and I made it sound exceptional, but here we go again.
Oh, this is a great page, God.
Right?
Well, they keep, oh my God, I love that page like that. Anything you got, anything to do with motion and Kirby?
Oh, look at that top one.
beautiful. I love that. That's one of the great. That's a great page.
Right. Yep. I like the concept of Drew. I feel like Drew, like if utilized correctly, would be a great villain to use in the Marvel universe. He's deceptive. He's very manipulative and controlling, and he knows how to bully. Like he's got what could be interpreted for a cool suit if done right, where they would actually pay honor to his character. I would like to see Drew handled correctly. Is what I'd like to see.
Now, I don't know if Kirby knew that it was over, but there's some closure to this particular issue at least, and I think he did, because unless it was a coincidence. Because spoiler alert, everyone, Druid wants to kill the Celestial. And he knows this, even though he's an idiot, because it's going to cause the Celestials to, in theory. And so this thing that's about to destroy this Celestial is going to, after he stops Druid, Druid's an Eternal. He's killing him there.
Yes.
It's going to destroy the Earth. Icarus and the other guy, they're getting away, but he's saying it's impossible. We're dead. The whole world's about to be destroyed. And at the last second, the Celestial himself saves the world. He stops it. He grabs it and saves everyone.
Yeah. And absolutely does.
Then Kirby's Eternals run lives.
And see, that's the part where I'm kind of confused, because as well as I enjoy this part, it didn't feel like anything final. It just felt like the next step in the story, it almost felt like a story that was like a small story to buy some time till the next bigger story. Like, it was well told within its confines, but it doesn't feel like a story that is final at all. It doesn't feel final. I truly if Kirby didn't know, I believe you. I really believe it, because it doesn't feel like it felt like this was just the next issue of the run. It didn't feel like they were setting up for even a big finale. So it just felt like the next issue in the current run, and it must have been like an abrupt ending of sorts.
Yeah, the end of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and with a question mark, so they.
Yeah, there you go. There's that question mark.
That's true. Maybe Archie
probably was that, or he's probably trying to, hey, let's try a few more issues, and and probably wonder what the sales of this comic were back then. They probably sold hundreds of thousands of these. Today, where they sell like 10,000 comics.
Of course. And the print run on that was, still standard print. It was 400,000 was a low print run.
Right. Yeah.
I bet a standard one. At that point, 300, 400,000 was a kind of standard to low print run. Now, since we've been talking a lot about Kirby art, I have a little special thing to show us.
Awesome.
Because we're looking at all this finished art for just to show you how much Kirby did, with well, put it this way, we're loving the colors. Have any of you ever seen any of the original art on these comics?
No, you got some to show.
Some
great.
Black and white, the 4 colors.
Let's see. Yep.
I think I had the digital edition. Let me see if I can give me a moment. Oh.
That's what I was
going to say. Mine came with a lot of the black and white art. Oh, yes. You and I got the same thing. Yes.
Comicsology. Yeah, let's see here. Oh man, can you imagine how much these pages are worth right now?
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, yeah.
Yeah.
When he was selling for $30 back in the day, right?
Again,
maybe not covers, yeah. Gorgeous,
I love the colors. I mean, I love it colorful.
Right.
There's something about seeing the original art pages. And
look at the hair, how well it's drawn.
The inking. It's just amazing. Right. The Eternals were doing a 50-year judgment.
Right.
So 2000 maybe 26 or something.
So what happens in that last issue? The Celestials just still judging us, or how?
No, yeah, one of them did stop. Was trying to end, but that's it. We did nothing. There's no. I mean, it was definitely
still on the planet, right?
Too soon. Yeah.
I want to add something to these 19 issues and the annual issue. I feel like these issues, like, because I was obviously a normie going into this run, and now obviously I have a good recollection of a lot of the events that happened within these issues. It feels like because I was able to read it in the format that I was, aka the binge reading model, I was able to see. It felt like the events of these comics took place within the sum of a few weeks at most, because I read it in that sense where instead of the monthly format, you see things a little bit differently and you read a little differently in a monthly format. But because I was binge reading it, it felt like this all happened within the sum of a few weeks, which obviously, the whole comic book timeline is very, I guess, what's the word say? It's not definitive, it's sliding, and it's ever changing. And I feel like this story, like, even though you had issues that came out within 2 to 3 years, the events of it really don't take place all within that long of each other, if you think about it.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, I
No,
felt the same
yeah,
way
you're right,
too.
but-
Reading, I mean, I only got through the first 12, but yeah, it seems like it's a pretty compact story. It's not
Yes.
taking place over that long of a period.
And there's no time where, like, oh, wait, it's 5 months later, or
Yeah, there's
a
no
few
chunks,
weeks
yeah.
later. It's going straight in, which is fine. That doesn't make anything bad, but it's just definitely something that I observed because I was able to read it in the binge reading model versus waiting on the traditional monthly format of waiting for the issues to come. Because I'm sure if I read it back in the 70s, waiting for it to come monthly, I'm sure I would have not said the same thing, maybe because I would have not noticed as much, but because we're in the age of digital and all that stuff, I got to blur through these issues for the last 3 weeks. And also I'm like, and it just kind of like occurred to me, like, wow, these events all feel like they happened within a certain period of time. Like, if you thought about an MCU timeline, this could have all been within like phase 1 alone.
Yeah. It's all
Yep.
all right together. Yeah. So I'd
Sure.
recommend buying this on Comicology, or if you can find the trade.
Yeah.
Yeah, the trades. I mean, if you get the originals, you're talking big money now. Unfortunately,
You're right.
Did
If
they go
you're
way
ambitious,
up now, or?
oh, of course.
compare.
Yeah,
well,
let
maybe
me
I'm just
check.
saying. Maybe I'm just comparing to what they used to be when they were
Well,
in
yeah,
the
it was
quarter,
there were
quarter bins
giveaways,
and the
right?
dollar
Yeah.
bins and shit.
No one wanted them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Kirby collectors that let me
Most Kirby
Checking
fans,
my
of the
program here.
hardcore, probably have picked them up. So
all right. Well, number one is
The
going for
hardcore of the hardcore.
number one is $114 right now.
Jesus Christ!
Of
It was-
course.
It was $50. 2019, it went down to $20, and now it's shot up to over $100. If you've got the 30-cent version, that's worth $700. 49.
First appearance of Ajax, worth everything and then some.
49.
I remember.
205. Wow.
I remember it was the biggest
Crazy.
deal of my life growing up, thinking it would be the biggest deal of my life to have the first appearance of the Human Torch. And now here we're talking about a timeline where the first appearance of Ajax is a big deal.
Most of them are between $40 and $70. I'll
That's
between
ridiculous,
the-
though. I mean, it used to be
no,
$1.
yeah, it was throwaway. Yeah,
It's key,
29.
we talk about it all the time. It's key collectors. It's a freaking movie.
Yeah.
And that's
And the
another thing. The comic started off as 25 cents when the number one came up. I think around issue 4, 5, or 6, it went up to 30 cents.
Yeah, the most valuable issue, according to my program, comic base, is issue 3, $200.
Who's the big appearance in that one that they're making it with
First
that
appearance
much?
of Cersei.
Oh.
And they
She is
mentioned
one of the
Ralph
cooler
Macchio.
characters.
Why did they mention Ralph Macchio? What did he do in that one?
So
What?
they don't have a big first appearance for
What?
Sprite or for Druid?
Oh, maybe it says first appearance of Cersei, Ralph Macchio, LOC. What the heck does that
Yes,
mean?
he's the writer, and he wasn't.
Oh,
He
okay.
didn't write that.
He didn't write that,
There
so I
was
don't know.
there was a Marvel
Must be a
Comics writer
mistake.
called Ralph Macchio, but he
Yeah,
did
yeah,
not write
so-
the Eternals.
No, I don't know why his list. It could be a mistake in the program. There's lots of
See,
mistakes.
I want my first appearance of Sprite, and that's it. And I'm set for life with the first appearance of Sprite.
You need number 9, Nick. $61. It can be yours.
All right, Cowboy.
Well,
all
you'll
right.
see, but wait till after the movie, because if the movie does the movie does really well, it's
Ugh.
gonna it's gonna go up even more, right? Yeah.
Oh man. And then of course you had Druig with issue 17. I think it was the last few pages of 17, Druig. So you have a good amount of the characters that are going to be in the movie. Like, I guess you could say, as far as inspiration of what they're going off of from the Kirby run, like obviously they're introducing a good amount of the characters. You know, the obviously Celestials, Deviants, Crow. You got Icarus. You got Thena. You have Makari. You have Cersei. Trying to think who else will be in this that's originated from the Kirby run. Druig, Sprite.
I want Carcass.
Oh my god, dude, him and the Reject. But
I
that's
want a
gotta be the
Carcass
him and
figure.
the Reject. Ooh.
I want Carcass, the Reject, and Athena to team with the Forgotten One. All
I
drawn by
like-
Kirby.
I like that element of Athena leading that because he wasn't trying to play this idea of, oh, I'm just the strong lady who's trying to like control you guys. She really wanted them to be like, you know, guys who can overcome the hate that really genuinely ran through their mind. She wasn't sitting there
Dead
filled
man.
with hate just to insult them. She knew that they were living these lives where that's all they were programmed to do, and she was
Right.
trying to undo that. And I really respect that element of Athena. Nowadays, when they would say the idea of undoing hate, it's an idea of undoing. It's a different idea of undoing hate. She's trying to genuinely do it. They're just saying, "Oh, you don't like that I wear the same baseball hat as you, so therefore I hate you, and I gotta do the hate from you." This is no. You grew up with a life of programmed hate and murder, and I want to help you undo that because there's a better world out there, and I love that aspect of Athena, at least as far as a personality aspect goes, and we're probably not going to get anywhere near that aspect
No.
of Athena in this.
Probably not, but we'll find out tomorrow. Are you going tomorrow also, Nick?
I'm either going to go tomorrow or I'm going to go Friday afternoon. I will know, but either way, I am definitely in for Friday night to join you guys. So we'll talk about what you got, 6 p.m. Friday?
6 p.m. Central Friday, buddy. Yeah.
I should be able to join you. I should be able to join you for that. If I don't, I'll let you. If I can't, I'll let you know. But either way, it's gonna be talked about Friday night on my channel. But yeah,
Cool.
it's gonna be talked about all day long. I can already tell the weekend that the oncoming storm that lies ahead. Like this is gonna be talked about all weekend. It kind of needs to be because now I can see it from the comic end and the movie end. Now that I've finished the original run, I feel like it's almost essential, dare I say, to partake in this conversation so I can help people understand, normies and comic fans, what matters in this flick and, well, what was done just for the sake of, well, virtuous points.
I wonder how many people have actually read these comics. I mean, I hadn't read them, and I'm a huge
I
comic
didn't.
book collector. You hadn't.
Yeah.
Of course,
Didn't even know they
CLOBBERIN
existed.
has, but I mean, it's a pretty obscure run. So, I mean, on the one hand, it's kind of cool. Like, you know, I've always wanted to see a Micronauts, movie or something, which you'll never get. But, it's fun, to take an obscure, property, but you wanted to see them do it justice. So
yeah, and I'm one of those guys. I'm okay with them introducing obscure characters because I hear a lot of people say no one knows these characters. Only knows, I get that. You're right. That's true. Obviously, there's no falseness to that statement, but I'm okay with that. Like, as long as the character is done justice, and obviously, yes, Guardians of the Galaxy were more known of a property. At best, for me, I can at least say I heard of them, though I never looked at them. Whereas Eternals, I never looked into them at all. Heard of them at all. The Guardians, at least, I was aware of that name at best, and I'm okay with tackling national properties. I think that's a great thing, especially if it's a good character. Why not? It's just more of do the character justice, and I will gladly talk about it to the moon and back.
Well, that's why I love Guardians of the Galaxy so much. Part of it was just the surprise of turn to my buddy like, wow, this is actually good. I wasn't expecting it to be. At that point, Marvel really hadn't made a bad movie. I would say, but you're like, well, how are they going to make this good? And then with the soundtrack too. I mean, the soundtrack just amps it up to 11. I mean, without that sound, it's just so good. And
Yeah.
it just pulls you into the character so much. It's got that great opening where, unfortunately, you see his, mom die of cancer that pulls at your heartstrings, and it really, right away, boom, you're like, this is a serious movie, even though James Gunn humor, but you've got that serious moment, and then he's off to the, in the spaceship and hoping he doesn't get eaten,
Oh,
so there's
speaking
comedy,
of,
but oh god, that was such a surprise.
No, speaking of said Guardians, my brother's been playing the Guardians of the Galaxy video game on PlayStation, and he's a heavy gamer. He is surprised with how much he enjoyed it. He didn't think he would enjoy it, and he's enjoying it, and he is telling me how much it actually has more in common with the comic book than it does the movies. He said there's some elements like Star-Lord's helmet and some of the music, but he says like mannerisms, personalities, and character aspects, it's more in common with the comics. And that's cool because we all know about how much the Avengers game that came out that everyone forgot existed after a month. He actually is like, I think this Guardians game might actually have some legs, unlike that Avengers game. So it's
Can
good
you
to
play
know.
multiplayer with it, or is it just a single?
I didn't ask him. I'm one of those.
That'd be awesome if you could play multiplayer, with buddies.
And see, Marty, for you, I'll do multiplayer, and for him because I'm one of those guys who I like doing single player. I like to be my own guy. I like to be my own guy. But with you guys, I'll play. Just let me be like Groot or Drax, and we're all good.
You're all good, yeah.
Yeah, then I'm all good.
Captain Cognate Spock, what's up, dude?
Hey.
Hello, Captain. Yep.
Oh, look at that art. Ugh, I love this splash. And this is one from one of the later issues.
Yeah, this is like 16, 18 or so. I love that you can blow this thing up really big on the comicsology thing there.
Right, I love comicsology.
Insane, insane ass art there. That's fantastic. Wow, I can look at that forever. I love it. Dadman Clan, Captain Cockney Spock. Hello there. Well, we're gonna wrap it up now, folks, because we've been here quite a good while. I hope our review was sufficient. I mean, I guess we should finish up by asking. And first, I will ask our guest, the great Nick Weiser. So, as a rating, if you were to rate Kirby's 19 issues and 20 and one annual, so 20 comics overall, the run, even though we know it was complete, what would your rating be if you had to make one off the top?
Okay. If I'm gonna have to go off a few different scores, so I'm gonna break it down for you. As far as the penciling, and a colorist and then inks, I'm gonna have to actually give this a 9.8, 9.9, 10 around that range, because this does feel like some of Kirby's best art. It's not my favorite story from him, but I'll get to that part later. But as far as art wise, he really knew he wanted to outdo himself, and I will say that he did, because it is. Every single time I look at it, I'm still jaw dropped at it, and I love it, and it looks amazing. So I will give that anywhere between a 9.8 to a 10 out of 10 as far as art. So art writing wise, I'm probably gonna go with like a 7.5. And what I like is I like the characterization. I like the characters in general. Obviously, I can't fault him for the writing aspect, because what I can't fault is because there's obviously still more story to tell. Why we didn't get that, we don't know. But I feel like there could have been more that could have been done with certain characters like Makari and Ajak. Obviously, we don't know what happened. There's not been some big urban legends came out about who canceled the book, or was Jack just done with the book. It's hard to say what it was. I like what's her face? Cersei. I think she's awesome. Icarus is cool. Obviously, he's just Superman with a blue suit. Or sorry, baby blue suit. I should say baby blue suit. I should do. You got a lot of great other great characters too. You got the Deviants, you got Crow, you got the Reject, you got Carcass. Like, you got a lot of great characters that were not just the heroes. And it was funny also to see the relationship between the humans and the Eternals themselves, particularly Margaret and the nerdy guy whose Cersei was all over. So you had like things to connect to. So I'll give it credit for that. It almost sounds like I should give it a higher rate, but I'm going to give it a 7.6, just because I feel like there's still so much more that could have been done and we'll never truly know. So that's what kind of hurts the score for me. Obviously, it may not be Jack's fault. We don't know what happened, if it was his thing or if it was a Marvel thing. But still great. Great stuff overall, and absolutely worth the read of your time. And if you're someone who wants to read it digitally, hey, you know what? I'm a physical reader, but I do love my fair share of digital. It's definitely worth buying if you want to buy it single issues or a trade format, whichever is your preference. Worth it in the digitals, and obviously worth it if you want to buy the physical editions, whether it's paperback or hardcover. Overall, I'll probably give this like probably a straight 8.1 out of 10. 8.1 out of 10. That's where I'll go with this one, because overall it's so good. Great world building, great ideas, fantastic ideas, and very forward thinking, very revolutionary, and still to this very day revolutionary. You got these concepts of the Unimind. Thank you for showing that. And you got, once again, like people, you got these characters who are immortal, but even though they're immortal, the fact that they can live with eternal pain, that could be eternally bad as well. I'm getting into a dad joke, but it's relevant. So, and yes, the Hungry Boy, Dolly had braces, so she had curves. Yes, he had some great toxicity elements in there too for the men. So that was great. I do recommend it as a read. I don't think it'll be your favorite Kirby story that you'll read, but it still deserves its spot in the sun, and you should keep it there high and bright. And Raquel Briggs, thank you for your time and contribution to the chat. I would straight up recommend at least reading this book. And who knows, you might like it more than me, and that's okay. Thank you, Clobberin.
Well, thank you, buddy. And Mark?
Yeah, great synopsis, Nick. I pretty much agree with 100% of what you said. I think the art is fantastic. The world building's amazing. I think it starts off a little slow and it's tough. It was tough for me to get into the characters until like the third or fourth issue, and then it kind of takes off, and then you kind of want to go back and reread that first, second, third issue to kind of appreciate it more, because it's the same thing. Once when you don't know a character, you're kind of then you realize certain things you've missed or that are in detail. Like, oh, that makes sense now. And I think the art, those splash pages. I don't know if those you'd consider. Clobberin Times, you're the Kirby expert, but those are some of the most phenomenal splash pages I think I've ever seen. I don't know how it compares to some of the work in the FF, but I think he really outdid himself then. I think he knew, this is my show. This is, this is Kirby's time to do whatever he wants.
Look at that.
No one's going to tell me, what I can do or not do. And I'm just going to go where I want the story to go. So that's what I really appreciated about it. And I think it really starts to pick up, issue 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. From there on, it's really rolling. You want to know what happens to the characters. And, you really start to empathize with with the characters like Carcass and the interactions there with those guys, and Cersei, like you said, Nick, is really steals the show too, and just with her character and how fun she is. She's the life of the party. So and I haven't finished reading it yet, so I've got to finish the last 6 issues. So I got to finish that before I go to the movie tomorrow. So I guess on the one hand, it's going to make maybe the movie even that much worse, having all these characters fresh in your mind, and knowing all about the characters and seeing how they're flipped up, or especially we're comic book geeks, so when you go see a movie and you're like, that Daredevil wouldn't do that in the movie, or this character wouldn't do that, or that didn't happen, or why are they doing that to the Skrulls? Why did they ruin the Skrulls in the movie? When they really, minor changes, I don't mind, or of course they're making a movie, they've got to do certain things. When they do major character changes, that's when it really gets me. But I highly recommend this one. I think I don't know if it's on sale in Comixology. Sometimes when there's a movie coming out, they'll do they'll put the trades on sale. You can actually buy the digital. But I say it's some great science fiction concepts, the machines, the world building.
The whole run, it's $20. It's $20, and that's
worth it.
A lot cheaper than you. a lot cheaper than you would get one issue now, just about. So.
Yeah. So that's highly recommended. And yeah, like Clobberin Time said, maybe the dialogue's a little clunky, but for the 70s, it's not that. It's really not that bad. A couple of lines were, we're making fun of, maybe the lines you wouldn't have today, and then there'd be no spanking. But it's really not that. It really, I didn't think it aged poorly at all. I think you get right in and all the sci-fi concepts, and I love that Chariot of the Gods concept. I think the show I loved was In Search of with Leonard Nimoy, and he did a couple of shows on that topic and some great stuff on the History Channels. And now look at they're admitting UFOs exist now. The government's admitting that. So have we been visited by people from another planet? I think some was it Sagan or said maybe if they're that powerful, maybe you wouldn't want them to visit because we'd be like ants to them. Be careful what you wish for, but maybe there are some celestials out there judging us and watching us. Who knows? And the more you hear and see these videos, it's kind of interesting just to ponder that. And with how big the universe is, is there life somewhere else? Probably the odds are there are. So that's what I love. This sci-fi concept with space aliens, and they're so advanced they're gods, even though maybe not really gods, but to us they're they're gods. And that's one of the themes in the Internals, saying that the deviants are the devils and the demons, and that was a brilliant way to explain it, saying these creatures were here all along, but we were superstitious, so that's what we thought of them. And the Eternals were like Hercules or Gilgamesh or Mercury. So really, really good series, and it was actually better than I thought it would be, because it was so ignored. Well, it can't be that good, right? I mean, it's Kirby's art's gonna be good, but it ended up being a fun, really fun read. So thumbs up from me.
Oh, there you go. Well, hey there, MJ1 Media. What's happening? Well, let's see what he's saying. I mean, we're about to get out of here, so it's kind of off topic, but looks like those marriage Carol Danvers became Captain Marvel and new characters. Well, if we're doing like an open comics talk or something, we can get into that one night on the. That's
a great topic.
On a Monday night when we do our Monday night topic, but we're wrapping up our Eternals review right now. But it's good to see you there, MJ1. Obviously, now because of Nick, I got to break it down into 5 different reviews instead of just giving. That's a lot.
That was an Esh pick review.
No, I mean he just how do you got to review it 5 different ways. Nick always does that. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
We're
just
good,
picking
man.
We're
good.
But yes, I mean this in terms of the writing, and you have to call balls and strikes no matter how much I love Kirby. I always thought his writing, his scripting, and his dialoguing is clunky and dated and stilted. Just like Stan's is, by the way, but Stan's was kind of snazzy, and yet people will always refuse to say that about Stan. Go read that Stan's dialogue in the 60s and some of it, and tell me that isn't cringeworthy. Some of Kirby's definitely is, even some of his captioning and his captioning prose. But that notwithstanding, his art is probably some of the finest art he's ever done, right up there with some of my favorites of his.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, MJ Media. Look, I do open comics talk sometimes on Monday nights, and would love to have you, if you want to pop in and ask any questions and stuff. So art just off the charts. Some of his greatest, most magnificent work in terms of his, his just visuals are just phenomenal, as you can see. Plot takes a while to get going, as Mark says. Of course it does, but once it gets going, it really it moves at a pretty good clip. Characterization, again, a little bit wonky at first, really gets good. He introduces some great characters. Standouts to me again, the Reject and Carcass, and yes, and of course Icarus gets way better later in the series, as does Zurus, and so yeah, Ajax we don't get near enough of him for me. We just don't get enough of him for me. But for the most part, all the characterization is excellent. Some curiosities in terms of whether or not it is actually intended to be in the Marvel universe as it was later. Oh, hello there, Sherry. Good to see you. You have a great night as well. So, and overall, just a magnificent beauty of sight to behold artistically. And ideas just out of this world. This thing for ideas and concepts, it's a masterwork, and I love it. And I'm so glad I went back and read it after all of this time. It's just a brilliant piece of art with some of the most amazing. Again, his imagination at this point. And for those who don't know, this was around the end of Kirby's career. Okay, he had gone back to Marvel about a year or so before this, right around this time, after having fled to DC for about 4 or 5 years. And that didn't work out and didn't get treated well by DC. Went back and pretty much got free reign to do a lot of what he wanted to do, and did it. And then around the time when this one ended, it wasn't very long after this that he departed Marvel, and he went and did some things for Pacific Comics. He worked for Ruby Spears doing some work here and there. And he really never went back to doing a lot of regular comics again. He worked here and there sparingly and stuff. So, it was, I'm not saying this is a swan song, but it was really toward the end of his career as a regular comic book artist, writer, and creator. And he ended on again, it's not the end, but it was an extraordinary way to end it. And I'm sure he would not approve of someone making a movie the way that just willy-nilly, but we'll see about that tomorrow.
Yep.
I want to thank.
Well, no, yep.
So I love this work. I love this thing. I might read it again soon.
So this is the first time you've read it in 40 years, or? Yeah,
I mean, it's maybe more than 40. I mean, it was the early 80s at some point.
Okay.
And when I bought them out of a quarter box or something, like early mid 80s. So yeah, maybe a little bit under 40. It's right up in there. Maybe 83 or 4. So I say 40 as a general. It could be a little bit under that.
But it wasn't something you reread through the years. Yeah.
No, I didn't. I mean, I always loved the art.
Yeah.
And I would flip through it. If I see it somewhere, I'd flip through it from time to time. But it appeals to me much more now than it did back then. The art always appealed to me. But getting into the stories at this, because I'm a lot older, at that time when I was going back and picking these up, I was a young adult running comic shops, selling comics, and I was in love with Alan Moore and Frank Miller and, Jim Starlin and Neil Adams and all these other great guys. And as much as I loved Kirby's art and his older stories, I wasn't reading a lot of this kind of stuff at that point.
Okay.
So it was later. But I picked it up and read those. And didn't hate it or anything. I liked it, but like I said, it wasn't my favorite thing at the point. But you change.
Yeah.
Time changes you, and it changes your outlook a little bit. Now I'm just.
Well, I appreciate Kirby a lot more now. When I was younger, I didn't really like the art as much, and I was like, "Well, that's kind of weird art." And then it kind of clicks. You're like, "Wow, this is really amazing." So, it's this is just brilliant art the whole way through on these issues. There's no bad pages on this issue on any of these issues.
And this is an example. Look, I totally am with the people who say buy the physical if you can. Now, again, we know how expensive. We just talked about how expensive the regular issues are. Buy the trades. But this is one example of where it's almost advantageous to go to Comixology or to digitally get it, whatever, and do what we just did. Blowing it up on that beautiful art. Yes, looking at it on the newsprint is fantastic, or even on the slick paper of a trade paperback or an omnibus. But, man, blowing it up on a screen like that, there's no artist's work, in my opinion, that is more worthy of being just blown up as big as you can get it on the screen. I wish they could make a movie from this comic on IMAX screens, blowing that art up like that, called Eternals, and I would want to go see it for 2 hours. I would
put some music in the background. Yep.
Yeah, put some music, put some classical music or something. Take this art and put it on an IMAX screen for 2 hours. And Kirby art, blow it up. That would be gorgeous.
Yeah.
I would love to see that rather than this stinker movie we're going to go see tomorrow. So, anyway. All right, everyone. Well, here's a little bit of what we're doing in times to come. We have the Global Geek Gang for tomorrow, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we will globally geek out for a while. And then CLOBBERIN's Clubhouse, hanging with the most wonderful first officer in the fleet, Raquel Briggs. We love you, Raquel. And then, of course, the greatest engineer who ever lived. Mark, deal with this.
Thank
Just
you.
hanging out. This is going to be an hour later than usual, everyone. It'll actually be 10 p.m. Central because, we haven't have time to get home and everything. Just
Gotta go see the movie.
Yeah.
and then we might have to regroup after that.
I don't know about gotta, but yeah, we're gonna. Then Friday there is a special all-time movie review of Eternals, Marvel's Eternals, or as Raquel likes to call it, Marvel's. What does she call it again? She called it. I forgot. Something to do with a laxative. I forgot. I can't. Metamucils. Thank you, Marvel's Metamucils. And then Saturday night Star Trek, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, my friends. So, and all kind of other stuff. Next Wednesday night, I'm not sure, but I think Mr. MVP might join me. We might review For the Man Who Has Everything, the greatest Superman story ever made, in my opinion. We're going to set that up. That's a possibility. We'll settle. We'll put that in stone as soon as I possibly can.
Cool.
So, thank you all for being here. The wonderful Raquel Briggs, love you so much. The great Steve Mitchum, Mr. Tickle Trunk, thank you, and thank you for the donations. The great Eric K, Hungry Boy, thank you so much, my friend. Let's see who else was here. Oh man, I can't remember everyone. Stuart Mitchell, she had braces. Sherry, the lovely Sherry, was here. Let's see, MJ Media One, thank you so much. Fathom Outsider, thanks, buddy, appreciate you. I can't remember everyone. Matthew Pounder was here. Dad Man was here. And just anyone, if I missed you, I'm old and senile. It happens. But thank you so much. Great to see you all. And Stone Loki popped in.
Yep, Loki.
And
yes, he did. Loki did pop in.
Great to see the great Stone Loki, and big shout out to him for this wonderful intro outro he made. Good night, everyone, and have a wonderful tomorrow.